The second Ray steps back into the dungeon, he knows one thing for sure. He isn't nearly strong enough to drain the skull demon just yet. So he grinds on the imps first. One quick slash, and he yoinks an ice needle skill for himself. He then torches the screaming monster with a fireball, causing the second imp to freeze up completely shook. But the skull demon has zero chill and just respawns it, trapping Ray in a brutal grind loop of killing it over and over just to get enough EXP to survive. The real game changer, though, comes when Ray smashes level 30 and unlocks skill synthesis. In a massive gamble, he fuses Ice Needle with Fireball and cooks up a totally new attack, a Fire Lance. It absolutely shreds the Skull Demon's mana barrier, giving Ray the opening he needs to rush in and with a single punch steal the demon's own defensive buffs. Then he snags Extreme Body Enhancement right before the Skull Demon crumbles, dropping a huge green mana stone. Ray skyrockets to level 33 in a single day. But it wasn't always like this. Meet Kurosaki Kai. This kid's a dual-color prodigy so cracked at magic they call him the Purple King. And living deep in his shadow is our MC, his older brother Ray, who's completely colorless and has zero magic talent. Ray's only shot at the life is being a glorified luggage carrier for his brother's party. That is until their crew comes face to face with a dungeon boss named Kronos, the literal god of time and space. With just a lazy wave of his hand, Kronos effortlessly wipes the entire party off the map, Kai included. Pushed into a corner and staring down his own death ray's desperation unlocks a forbidden sealed power skill drain. In one final act of defiance, he steals Kronos' own reality-bending ability Rewind. But the insane power surge fueled by pure panic doesn't just rewind the last few seconds, it yeets Ray himself back through time. He wakes up years in the past armed with a god's stolen power and a burning resolve. This time, he's taking control of his own destiny. Ray is completely stunned, and when he peeks out the window, he sees something even wilder. He notices something that hits different. The inverted castle is still sparkling white when it should have been pitch black. Apparently, it was pure white up until 7 years ago. It slowly began to darken, and the moment it went full-on dark mode, everything went to hell. That's when the door that unleashed Kronos swung open. It suddenly clicks for him. No cap, he actually jacked the rewind skill from Kronos to launch himself back to the past. He grabs his phone to check the date and realizes he's been sent back a full 7 years. Curious Ray pulls up his status window to check his skills, but plot twist, the rewind skill is totally gone. The good news, however, is that his OP skill drain ability is still there. Even with rewind gone, Ray isn't even mad because for 10 miserable years, all he ever wanted was one single skill. Now that he has skill drain, he feels like he's finally won. Just then a notification pings on his phone reminding him that today is the day of the mage exam. So Ray heads over to the Mage Association HQ, the organization that controls everything about mages and dungeon raids. He steps into the headquarters, which looks brand new to him, but before he can even process it, he hears someone call him colorless from behind. He turns to see a couple of clowns named Goto and Oikawa, who are both his brother's subordinates. These were the same two guys who got completely erased back in Kronos' room. Goto and Oikawa start mocking Ray for showing up to take the mage exam yet again. They tell him his efforts are a complete waste of time, because no matter how many times he tries this test, he's always going to be a colorless nobody. And to be fair, this isn't the first time Ray has taken the mage exam, but he refused to give up and kept trying over and over. This time, though, he ain't got time for their games. He smacks their hands away, telling them to get lost. A few moments later, he finds himself in the examiner's office. There he meets the examiner, a B-rank mage named Hinata Reiner. Even Hinata is sick of seeing him, telling him that if he keeps this up, he's just going to get himself killed for real. Ray just assures Hinata that this time is going to be built different from all the others. So Hinata's pretty much stuck babysitting Ray at the exam site. And this ain't Ray's first rodeo. He's failed this thing so many times he already knows the drill. He's got to snag 3 mana stones from some basic goblins. For anyone who has actually awakened a skill, this test is supposed to be a total cakewalk. But our boy Ray, he's been hard stuck on this level forever. Turns out, though, that today's exam is about to get a whole lot spicier. Just like Ray knew would happen, a monster that has zero business being in a level 1 dungeon suddenly spawns in. And yeah, off in the distance, this thing looks like it's ready to throw down. Bruh, it's a redcap goblin, a level 37 monster. Hinata is absolutely bugging out, wondering why a raid boss is suddenly chilling in the tutorial zone. She immediately draws her sword and yells at Ray to dip while she tries to protect him. But Ray knows the stats don't lie, In his past life, he watched Hinata get completely bodied by this exact monster. All because she was fighting to make sure his weak self could escape. Hinata got wrecked so bad that her career as a mage was completely toast. Rei's been carrying that guilt forever, knowing his own incompetence got her dreams absolutely nuked. But not this time. This time our boy is ready to flip the script. Rei whips out his short sword, and as the monster charges, he just yeets the blade right at it. This monster's running a physical buff skill, which is exactly what Rei was counting on. So, of course, the goblin just swats the sword away like it's a fly. The monster keeps advancing, so Rei just winds up and decks it square in the dome. This just makes the goblin rage, and right as it's about to turn Rei into a red smear on the floor, Rei's broken ability straight up yoinks the body enhancement skill for himself, giving him a massive stat boost. The goblin freezes, totally confused why it suddenly feels as weak as a wet noodle, and while it's still buffering Rei one-shots, the monster cleaving it in two from the top down. Hinata's jaw is on the floor. She can't believe he just defeated a red cap in a single strike. No cap. Meanwhile, Rei is geeking out over his own skill drain ability, cause damn it hits different. He's just basking in the glow-up, when Hinata snaps him out of it, demanding to know how in the world he just pulled that off. Rei knows he can't just be like, oh yeah, I've got these super illegal black skills, so he plays it off. He tells her it was nothing but a lucky shot, a total coincidence. Hinata's calling BS on his lie. When it hits her, the entire exam should be shut down now. A freak monster just spawned, so she tells Rei they have to report this to HQ immediately. But Rei's more worried about his own mission. He reminds her he still needs to farm 2 more mana stones to pass. Hinata just loses it, screaming that now is not the time to be worried about his stupid exam items. But as if on cue, 2 regular goblins pop up in the distance and Rei just blitzes them in an instant. He casually lops their heads off, leaving Hinata completely speechless once again. Rei just scoops up the mana stones they dropped and asks the lady if these count for his test. Hinata's still too shook to even answer, and next thing you know, they're back at headquarters. A little while later, Hinata comes back holding Rei's brand new mage license. Our boy has officially leveled up to mage status. He even got placed straight into C rank. Rei takes the license with a little smirk, cause it's been a long time coming. Hinata then pulls up the details for cashing in the mana stones he collected. Apparently, these things are a super valuable clean energy source that doesn't put out any CO2. And on top of being fuel, you can sell them directly to the association for some serious cash. Rei figures that taking down that ranked red cap monster has to be worth a pretty penny. He pulls up the payment screen and nearly has a heart attack when he sees the fat stack of cash waiting for him. Bruh, he only gets 1,000 for wiping out those goblins, but that red cap. That one monster alone is worth a whopping 3 million. Hinata has to tell him to chill and not lose his mind just because he took down one red cap. Rei's absolutely floored. He had no idea mages were this loaded, and Hinata's like, oh, you can get way more than that. Naturally, this gets his gears turning, so he starts asking Hinata for the lowdown on dungeons. After getting the scoop from Hinata, Rei makes his way to a C-rank dungeon that's been set aside just for him. Rei can't help but be amazed because back in the day, there was no way he could have even thought about entering a dungeon by himself. But now rocking this new power, he's dead set on rewriting his own future. Right as he's about to step foot inside, he gets snagged by a skill called Mana Hand. Rei whips around totally annoyed, and what do you know? It's none other than Goto and Oik holding him in place. These 2 clowns start roasting him for trying to solo a dungeon, telling him it's completely against the rules. With a look of pure disgust, Rei claps back, telling them he's got full clearance since he aced the mage exam. The 2 of them are shocked to hear this and just figure he's capping hardcore. Goto then strolls up to Rei, shoves his head down with the Mana Hand, and dares him to show some skills if he's really awakened. So, the Mana Hand is basically a skill that solidifies mana, turning it into a physical force. Even with his body enhancement cranked to the max, Rei figures out he can't just brute force his way out of this. But our boy isn't one to just roll over. In a flash of rage, he headbutts Goto right in the face. Goto gets sent stumbling back, and in that same instant, Rei straight up yoinks his Mana Hand skill. And since he now owns the Mana Hand skill, the one Goto was using on him just fizzles out completely. A ridiculously powerful blue aura just explodes from his body, leaving Goto and Oik completely speechless. Rei doesn't waste a single second and immediately uses his new Mana Hand to snatch up Goto, forcing him to admit that Rei really is an awakened. But Oik isn't ready to give Rei his props yet and decides to chuck a fireball at him. Rei just activates his enhancement skill and slices right through the fire attack, leaving Oik completely stunned and trying to process what the hell just happened. That's when Ray closes the distance and lands a hit that sends him flying across the room. Godo can't believe his eyes. Ray can use body enhancement too. Meanwhile, Oik, who's in a world of hurt, asks Ray if he's some kind of dual-colored mage now. Ray just hits him with a simple nope, and then his drain skill jacks Oik's fireball, adding a whole new color to his skill arsenal. Oik's jaw hits the floor. He's never even heard of a mage rocking 3 different colors before. To show him just how dangerous he is, Ray fires a warning shot with his new fireball, which nearly makes the dude wet himself. Ray then casually asks if they're still down to throw hands. The two bullies just look at each other terrified before they book it out of there like their lives depend on it. Once they're gone, it hits Ray that Kai is going to be seriously pissed when he finds out what went down. See, Ray was pretty much Kai's punching bag, and if that guy learns that Ray has actually awakened a skill, he'll definitely show up to put him back in his place. And this won't be easy since Kai's already a beastly level 50, which basically makes him one of the most cracked mages around right now. On top of worrying about Kai, Ray knows there's also that terrifying dungeon that's set to open up pretty soon. To prep for all the chaos heading his way, Ray knows he needs to grind his level as high as possible, so he finally steps into the dungeon. See, your level is the bedrock of your power. Leveling up doesn't just let a mage learn new skills, it also beefs up their entire mana pool. It also boosts the amount of mana they can handle at one time. So, Ray's just chilling in the dungeon, when boom he gets jumped by a level 38. Flame Wizard. This wizard is surrounded by a bunch of fireballs, which has Ray shook because he can barely muster up a single one. The only reason the wizard can pull this off is because of the massive level gap between them. The wizard unleashes a volley of fireballs at Ray. He manages to block the first one, but he's forced to start weaving and dodging to avoid getting smoked by the rest of them. Ray quickly realizes he can't win this fight in a straight-up brawl, but there's one golden rule that never changes after a monster uses a skill. But there's always a weak spot, and Ray ain't about to let this chance slip by, so he blitzes toward the wizard at top speed. The opening only lasts for 2 seconds, but that's enough time for the wizard to be left wide open, letting Ray land a devastating punch. The blow sends the caster flying, and in the same motion Ray straight-up yoinks his fireball skill. The wizard hits the deck hard, and when he tries to cast a spell, he realizes his mana tank is on empty. Ray then serves him a taste of his own medicine, blasting 5 fireballs his way and completely overwhelming him with sheer firepower. The attack totally vaporizes him, and the moment the wizard is down for the count, Ray gets spammed with notifications. They tell him he's leveled up, and he quickly realizes that hunting higher-level mobs dishes out some serious experience points. Of course, it's a whole lot riskier to actually fight monsters that are ranked way above him. But Ray knows his skill drain ability is the ultimate cheat code, giving him a massive advantage. He checks his status and sees he's already climbed to level 12. With this momentum, Ray sets his sights on a new goal, reaching level 30. He starts tearing through the dungeon, absolutely wrecking any monster that gets in his way. Ray hits level 27 in what feels like no time, but the grind is starting to hit different. He can feel himself slowing down as leveling gets tougher. He figures that to break through to level 30, he's going to have to hunt some much stronger opponents. So Ray pushes on to the deepest section of the dungeon, where he finally finds the boss room. He's low-key hyped to see it. This is the exact kind of high-stakes challenge he needs. Ray throws the doors open, and as he steps inside, he's greeted by 2 level 30 imps and a beefy level 45 skull demon. The sight immediately puts Ray on high alert, but he already has a game plan. He'll just steal their skills to turn the tables on them. He makes a beeline for the skull demon, trying to land a quick hit, but he's in for a nasty surprise. A mana barrier is wrapped around the monster, which completely blocks his skill drain from even activating. The skull demon makes everything worse by charging right at Ray, almost ripping his head clean off, but he barely manages to dodge. That sudden burst of power from the monster makes Ray realize he'll have to pull something big out of his hat to win this fight. Since he can't just drain the skull demon yet, he switches his focus to the imps and immediately cuts one of them down. He swipes the ice needle skill from it, then turns the poor thing into a crispy critter with a fireball. The other imp just watches its buddy get turned into a flaming piece of modern art. Yeah, it's way too shook to even move. Now armed with the ice needle, Ray turns his attention back to the skull demon. He fires the new skill, and it completely shatters the demon's mana barrier. But plot twist, the skull demon's power instantly respawns the defeated imp. Even though this is a major hassle, Ray isn't complaining one bit, because farming these imps means more experience points for him. And at the end of the day, that's exactly what he's here for. He takes the imp down again, and the extra EXP is just enough to grant him another level up. Thanks to leveling up, the total amount of mana he can control gets a major boost. Not only that, but he also unlocks a brand new ability called Skill Synthesis. Ray can't help but feel relieved when he sees this, since it's the one thing he was desperately hoping for. He doesn't waste a single moment immediately using the new skill synthesis to combine Ice Needle and Fireball. The red and blue skills merge into one, creating a sick-looking fire lance that Ray launches directly at the Skull Demon. The Skull Demon throws up its mana barrier like before, but the fire lance weakens it just enough for Ray to break through and get in close. He lands a solid punch on the Skull Demon, successfully stealing its mana barrier, but he doesn't stop there. He also manages to swipe its Extreme Body Enhancement skill. This leaves the Skull Demon completely nerfed and confused with no clue what just hit it. With absolutely zero chill, Ray finishes the demon off by shoving a fire lance straight into its chest, engulfing it in flames. A massive green mana stone drops after he takes out the demon, and his level jumps from 28 all the way to 33. Ray lets out a huge sigh of relief after that intense battle, which he only won because of his new skill synthesis ability. Apparently, it's a high-tier technique that's designed to create even more cracked skills. It usually becomes available around level 30, so Ray's glad he was able to unlock it right in the nick of time. Ray is just vibing in his victory when the system pings him, confirming that he's finally met the level requirement. And to top it all off, the number of skills he can absorb with skill drain has just increased. His skill slots literally jumped from 3 to 5, and you can see the grin on Ray's face. He knows the grind is about to get a whole lot smoother. After he's finished checking out his new stats, he dips out of the dungeon and makes a beeline for the headquarters. He's got to turn in that green monostone. Hinata's jaw just about hits the floor when she finds out Ray not only clapped a Skull Demon, but also shot up to level 33 in a single day. Ray just gets all awkward and says he got lucky, but Hinata's like, bruh, no cap, it's basically impossible to break level 30 that fast, especially not in one day. Hinata tells him that at his current level, he's got the juice. He could easily become a B-rank mage right now. But just then, Ray hears a voice he knows all too well, and it comes with an aura that just screams trouble. It's none other than his brother Kai, and Kai is straight up calling Cap, saying there's no way Ray is B-rank, and that he's just some colorless nobody. The dude has zero chill and says Ray has absolutely no talent. Hinata immediately jumps to Ray's defense, telling Kai he took down a red cap and the Skull Demon all on his own. The second Kai hears that something inside him just snaps, and he immediately lunges at Ray. He throws a heavy punch right for his chest, but Ray effortlessly blocks it with his new Mana Guard skill, smirking and telling him to be careful. Seeing Ray block his punch is all the proof Kai needs. The rumors about his brother awakening his skills are actually true. But Kai is low-key not impressed, and tells Ray to watch his back, because he's about to find out just how capable he really is. Hinata sees Kai acting all cocky and asks him if he's seriously trying to start a fight right here. Kai scoffs, saying if Ray is really a B-rank mage like they claim, then this shouldn't be a problem, unless he's a total fraud who cheated his way up. Ray knows that backing down now will just lead to more trash talk and problems down the line. So Ray decides to accept Kai's challenge, which seems to shock his brother, but also pisses him off even more. With that, the two of them head to the headquarters arena to finally settle things. Ray knows he has to be super careful about how much mana he uses since he's going up against someone way stronger. He also knows he can't let his guard down for a second, since his max combo is stuck at 3 basic skills. Meanwhile, his cracked brother Kai can chain up to 5 skills together. Just looking at the numbers, Ray knows he's going to get wrecked if he tries to fight him head on. To even the playing field, Ray realizes he's going to have to pull something special out of the bag once the fight starts. Ray opens with Ice Needles, and Kai immediately counters with a volley of fireballs. The two spells collide right in the middle, creating a massive explosion and a thick cloud of dust. This completely blinds Kai, and before he can even react, Ray uses the smoke as cover and activates body enhancement, closing the distance in a flash. Kai is absolutely shook to see that his brother is now a dual-color wield. On the other side, Ray's brain is running a mile a minute, trying to calculate how many skill slots Kai has left after using one. As he charges toward his brother, he activates skill synthesis to forge a fire lance. Kai can't believe his eyes when he sees this. He now knows his brother can somehow use 3 different color skills. Still, he's not even a little bit worried. Just as Ray gets close enough to land a hit, Kai greets him with a huge fireball that completely obliterates the fire lance. The impact sends our boy flying and crashing to the ground. Ray looks up in pure horror. His ultimate move, which cost him 2 whole skills worth of mana, was just effortlessly swatted away by one basic spell. Kai starts talking mad trash, mocking his brother, and telling him that having 3 skill colors is a joke. He says Ray can't even touch him because he is on a completely different level. To really put Ray in his place, Kai starts spamming a barrage of lethal fireballs at him. All Ray can do is scramble around trying to dodge the onslaught while desperately trying to form another fire lance. He chucks a fire lance straight at Kai, but Kai just counters with his go-to move, the fireball. Kai's fireball doesn't just block it, bruh, it plows right through and barrels towards Ray. But Ray's quick on his feet and throws up a mana barrier instantly. Thing is, that flimsy barrier is no match for Kai's power. It shatters like glass, sending Ray crashing to the ground once again. With Ray down, Kai slowly walks up to him. He tells him to just bow his head like a good little boy, and maybe he'll let this whole thing slide. No cap, he wants Ray to admit that he's nothing more than trash compared to him. Deep down, Ray knows he can't possibly win against Kai with his current bag of tricks. But he absolutely refuses to give up, because that would mean living the rest of his life like a doormat. Ray is determined to carve out his own legacy, so he forces himself back to his feet, screaming that he will never ever bow down to someone like him. This just pisses Kai off, and he tells Ray he might have to put him down for good. Without wasting a second, Kai activates his overlock skill. This move chugs a massive amount of mana, but in exchange it literally doubles the amount of mana he can control at once. With overlock active, Kai conjures up a whole volley of fireballs and tells Ray he's about to see what the power of a real king looks like. A 10-hit combo attack. Ray is straight up terrified when he sees this, because he knows exactly how busted that skill is. It's basically Kai's ultimate move. This dude can handle a ridiculous amount of mana for his level. I mean, compared to anyone else on his tier, he's just built different. But this is exactly what Ray was betting on. He was counting on Kai getting arrogant enough to use it. Ray launches himself at Kai, who just scoffs at him, asking if he seriously thinks he can dodge this attack in midair. Ray suddenly finds himself in a storm of fireballs, but then he activates the mana hand. Kai is completely floored. He never saw another skill coming. See, Ray knows that no matter how cracked Kai is, he's still a slave to his cooldown times. He manages to weave through the fireballs and gets right up in Kai's face just as his skills go on cooldown. And then he lands a solid punch right across his jaw. Ray's punch hits like a truck, sending Kai flying across the entire arena. But that's not all. By punching him, Ray also manages to yoink his overload skill. Ray is pretty stoked with how things turned out, especially since he snagged that sweet overlock skill for himself. For a second, Ray thinks he's actually won the fight, but then Kai staggers back to his feet, his face all messed up. He looks absolutely murderous, threatening to end Ray right then and there. That's when Kai pulls out the Demon Lance skill. Ray is shook, because he had no idea Kai had already learned that move. Apparently, it's Kai's biggest trump card. This thing is a whole different level of dangerous. Ray can only watch as the lance rockets toward him, but he manages to dive out of the way just in the nick of time. Even Ray has to admit that the speed of that lance is something else. He finally gets it. The only reason he landed a hit on Kai before was because Kai wasn't taking him seriously. But that's all changed now. Kai has zero chill left and is going all out. Ray finds himself just running for his life around the arena because the power gap between them just shot through the roof. Even after tearing up half the arena, Kai is nowhere near finished. Ray tries to fight back with his own fire lance, but Kai's demon lance just completely overpowers it, no contest. The shockwave from the explosion slams Ray into a wall, and he lets out a scream as he makes impact. Kai just laughs at him, saying this is exactly why everyone calls him the Purple King. Ray can't help but admit that Kai's got a point. His Demon Lance is low-key one of the strongest skills out there. Kai stands over Ray again, telling him not to get a big head just because he can use a few skills. Ray knows he's no match for Kai as he is now, but then a crazy idea dawns on him. The entire game could flip on its head if he can just figure out the true potential of the purple skill. Before this showdown, the most he could ever synthesize was 2 colors. But Ray's about to change the game completely by activating the Overlord skill he just stole. Kai's jaw hits the floor when he sees his brother tap into the Overlord skill like it's nothing. Because of Overlord, Ray's mana capacity instantly multiplies and he unlocks the skill synthesis ability. A grin spreads across Ray's face. He knows he just hit the jackpot. But Kai, he's starting to sweat. He has no clue what kind of unholy combo Ray is brewing, and that's when our boy does something that completely breaks the game. My dude straight up merges 3 different mana colors. He mashes the red skill into the blue, then throws in the yellow for good measure, forging a swirling vortex of pure black mana. Kai's jaw just hits the floor. I mean, in this world you've only got red, yellow, and blue. That's it. Everyone always told Ray he had zero talent for any of those three colors, but plot twist, they were all dead wrong. Ray is built different, a whole new level of rare because he's a dark mage, something literally unheard of in the annals of mage history. By combining the three colors, Ray cooks up something called the Abyss Flame, and let me tell you, this thing looks like it could unexist you. Fear absolutely takes over Kai, and he frantically yeets a demon lance right at Ray. He's screaming his head off, telling him to back the hell up. Ray just casually clocks the incoming lance and lobs his Abyss Fireball at it, completely obliterating the attack in a blink. With the lance out of the picture, Ray closes the distance, already charging up another ball of that dark, fiery doom. But Kai isn't about to roll over. He summons another even bigger demon lance, bracing for whatever Ray's about to throw at him. Kai unleashes his massive demon lance, and Ray meets it head-on with his own fireball. Ray's attack is on another level, completely swallowing the demon lance and triggering a huge explosion that knocks Kai clean out. Ray himself can't even process what just happened, dropping to his knees totally floored that he actually finally beat Kai. Just then, a system notification dings, letting him know he's officially acquired the Abyss Flame skill. This W was brought to you by Skill Synthesis. A few moments later, Hinata strolls over her mind, completely blown, basically asking him what kind of cheat code he just used. Ray was low-key dreading this moment. He knows he can't keep his new power level on the down low forever. So, Ray plays it cool, summons a bit of the dark energy, and casually says it seems to be a black skill. This news absolutely electrifies Hinata, since Ray is officially the first ever black skill user. Ray then asks if he's actually required to report this new skill of his to the association. He'd much rather keep it a secret between them, but Hinata's shocked by this, telling him he's passing up a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Ray's clueless about what he could be missing, so Hinata spells it out. The strongest mage of each color automatically gets the title of King, which you know basically means he's now the Black King. There's literally no one else in the running. Ray has to stop and really think about that for a second. And even though the offer is seriously tempting, he tells Hinata he doesn't want it. Right now, Ray knows he's still too weak to deserve a title like King. Then it hits him that his brother is still unconscious back in the arena. He quickly asks Hinata if Kai is going to be okay. Hinata lets him know that Bro Kai is one of the kings, and while he's critically injured, he's sure to pull through. Still, she's going to take him to the medical wing. All of a sudden, their phones blare with an emergency notification. When Ray checks his screen, he realizes what's happening. A brand new dungeon has just spawned at the western entrance of Ikebukuro Park, and the recommended level to even step inside is 70. Hinata is totally shocked when she sees this, but Ray was already expecting it since this exact thing happened in his past life. It's a level 70 dungeon, and at this point, most of the kings are barely scraping level 50. In the first week after the dungeon appeared, the kings got a brutal reality check about how weak they were and just abandoned the Ikebukuro dungeon. But they had no idea that their choice was about to kick off an absolute tragedy. Apparently, the dungeon ended up suffering a dungeon collapse, which happens when a dungeon isn't conquered within a specific time frame. If that happens, the monsters inside come pouring out, and the Ikebukuro dungeon was the very first place this disaster occurred. The sudden appearance of these monsters led to countless deaths, and the city of Tokyo was completely swamped. As a result, a ton of people died from the terrifying waves of monsters that just overran the streets. Ray is hell-bent on stopping the tragedy from repeating, and Hinata nearly faceplants from the shock. He just dropped the bombshell that he plans on conquering the dungeon. Hinata tries to warn him, saying that even if he's cracked, the dungeon is seriously dangerous. Only A-rank mages are even allowed in there, since the recommended level is way past 50. But since there's still some time before the dungeon outbreak, Ray has a question. He asks if the A-rank promotion exam is still happening next week, and Hinata confirms it is. Hearing this, Ray lays out his master plan. He's gonna grind his way to A-rank in time for that next exam, and Hinata's jaw just about hits the floor. She can't even deny it. With his skills, Ray could actually pass the test no cap. But her tone shifts, making it clear there's a pretty big catch. Ray picks up on it and asks her what's wrong. That's when Hinata drops the other shoe. To even take the A-rank promotion test, he first has to clear a B-rank dungeon with a party. This basically means he needs to squad up and beat a B-rank dungeon in under a week. Ray completely forgot about this requirement. He whips out his phone only to see a wall of rejection messages from people. Everyone is telling him there's zero chance they'd ever party up with him. With the clock ticking and a B-rank dungeon to clear, Ray knows he's in a seriously tight spot. Trying to clear that kind of dungeon solo is basically a suicide mission. Ray's left scrambling for a way out of this massive jam he's in. Just then, his attention is caught by some mages absolutely ripping into their teammate for being too weak. This low-key hits different for Ray, who remembers getting treated like actual garbage, just like this poor girl. Turns out the girl's name is Ichinose Aya, and her so-called colleagues have zero chill calling her dead weight right to her face. The second Ray hears the name, Aya, a light bulb goes off in his head. He remembers something huge. In the future, this girl becomes a legend known as the Scarlet King. But right now in this timeline, and even though she's weak at the moment, Ray is disgusted that her party members are treating her like dirt. Aya tries to plead with them, explaining she can't afford to get. If she loses this gig, she won't be able to pay for her sister's medical care. She swears she'll do way better on their next run, and the party leader just scoffs. The leader says she'll be watching Aya during their raid today to see if she's got what it takes. She makes it crystal clear that if Aya screws up even once, she's kicked off the team for good, and Aya nervously. As Aya and her team head into the dungeon, Ray can't shake the bad feeling that this is all about to go sideways. Ray knows that Aya is destined to become the Scarlet King, but he also knows she went through some serious hell to get there. He remembers that around this exact time, she was part of a major incident. Apparently, she got critically wounded during a boss battle and fell into a coma that lasted for years. Suddenly, all the pieces click into place for Ray. He realizes that incident might be happening today. Even though he isn't 100% sure, he can see that Aya is acting super strange. To stop a catastrophe from unfolding, Ray knows he has to step in and do something. Meanwhile, Aya and her team have already run into the dungeon boss, a level 45 monster called Delahan. Out of nowhere, the party leader does something absolutely twisted. She shoves Aya directly into the monster's path, planning to use her as live bait. She tells Aya to handle the monster all by herself, but Aya protests, saying there's no way she can win against it alone. The party leader just tells her that if she can't solo the boss, she's out of the party for good. Aya is completely backed into a corner by this insane demand, but she feels like she has to try. She's doing all of this just to save her sister after all. The rest of the party just kicks back and watches like it's a movie. As Aya slowly approaches the boss, the party just stares in disbelief as Aya casually walks up to the boss and chucks a fireball at it. Aya's fireball makes contact, but the monster doesn't even flinch. It just tanks the hit. She absolutely freaks out when it sinks in that her strongest attack was basically useless. Without warning, the Dullahan launches itself at her sword, raised ready to turn her into a red stain on the floor. The blade smashes down right in front of her, and the shockwave alone blasts her off her feet, shattering the ground around her. She's completely down for the count, totally at its mercy. Just as the monster is about to land the finishing blow, Ray zips onto the scene, his body glowing with some next-level enhancement skill. He slides in and straight up blocks the monster's devastating attack. Aya is completely shook, staring at this mysterious savior who just appeared out of thin air to stop her from getting deleted. Ray puts his whole back into it, pushing with all his might until he sends the massive monster stumbling backward. Aya is just speechless with awe as Ray turns back to her, casually asking if she's all right. Meanwhile, Aya's party members are looking salty AF that some random dude just showed up and crashed their entire operation. They know for a fact that the Dullahan weighs a ton, but this guy just yeeted it like it was nothing. He's built different, no cap. Just then, the Dullahan scrambles back to its feet and lets out a deafening roar that echoes through the entire chamber. Ray isn't even fazed. He already figured the monster's armor was juiced up with some kind of strengthening skill. That's why any normal attack would just bounce off it, like a rubber ball off a brick wall. Since that's the plan, Ray decides to go for a galaxy brainplay, just steal the skill, and make the monster a complete pushover. Ray risks it all, dashing straight at the monster to make contact, and he actually manages to touch it. He tries to pop his skill drain ability, but to his shock, nothing happens. The skill just won't activate. Ray has to immediately dodge backward before the monster's blade can slice him clean in two. He gets back to Aya's side, and she asks if he's okay. Ray just brushes it off, saying he's all good. After blocking the monster's attack with his own sword, Ray finally realizes the armor is an external part like a coat. To make his skill drain work, he can't just touch the armor. He has to make contact with the monster's actual body underneath. Suddenly, the Dullahan smashes its sword into the ground, unleashing a huge wave of energy. Ray immediately throws up a mana barrier. He yells at Aya to get behind him, to avoid getting hit, and his barrier easily tanks the incoming blast. But the aftershock still sends the rest of the party flying like scraps of paper, with only their leader managing to stay on her feet. She gets up absolutely furious and hurls a massive ice lance at the monster. But the Dullahan just swats the attack away and hits her with a counter so fast she couldn't possibly dodge it. The next thing she knows, she's being slammed hard into a nearby wall. Seeing that even a high-level ice lance did absolutely nothing, Ray knows he needs a skill that's way more OP than the monster's defense. It's time to bring out the big guns. Ray decides to use his Abyss Flame. He doesn't waste a second conjuring a menacing black fireball that leaves Aya completely stunned. Ray launches the black flame straight at the monster, which retaliates by firing its own energy wave right back at him. The two attacks collide mid-air, but it's not even a fair fight. Ray's flame is just on another level, completely overpowering the energy blast. The black flame reaches the Dullahan before it can even move, completely engulfing the beast in dark fire. To make sure it stays put, Ray uses his Monahan skill to hold the monster in place so the flame can do its thing. That's all it takes. The flame burns right through that busted armor-strengthening skill and turns the monster to dust. It was completely overwhelmed by the sheer power of the black flame. Once the Dullahan is dead, a massive green monostone drops onto the ground. But Aya is way more focused on the insane power Ray just displayed. She's completely blown away. The fact that he took down that monster in a single hit is mind-boggling, and she nervously thanks him for saving her life. Ray just smiles and tells her not to worry about it. He's just glad she's okay. Deep down, though, Ray is seriously relieved he made it in time to stop Aya from dying. Just then, Aya's garbage tier party leader gets back to her feet, and she looks absolutely livid. She can tell Ray is incredibly strong, but her greed is kicking in, and all she can think about is the reward for the kill. She stomps over to Ray and has the nerve to demand he hand over the Mana Stone, saying it belongs to them because they call dibs on conquering the dungeon. Aya is completely floored by this and has to remind the ungrateful lady that Ray literally just saved their necks. Ray, with zero chill, tells the woman he has no problem forking over the Mana Stone. But there's a catch: he wants Aya to join his party. This bombshell completely blindsides both the party leader and Aya herself. Ray then turns to Aya, making it clear that it's her decision, and he isn't forcing her into anything. Hearing this, the party leader absolutely loses it, laughing like a villain, and tells Ray it's a deal. She pats Aya on the shoulder and asks if she's cool with the arrangement too. Without hesitation, Aya says yes, telling Ray that she's officially in his hands now. The party leader snags the Mana Stone and walks off, gloating about how she just pulled off the trade of the century. She thinks she just offloaded a totally useless party member, but little does she know Ray knows the truth. Aya is the real MVP. After the old party leaves, Aya thanks Ray again for saving her. Ray apologizes for yanking her out of her party so abruptly, but Aya isn't really tripping about it. She's way more worried that she's just going to be dead weight for Ray. Ray immediately shuts that down, promising her that she's about to get a major power-up. He says she'll be even stronger than the crew who just abandoned her. Aya is stunned to hear this because she really doesn't see herself as someone with that kind of hidden potential. Ray then admits he overheard the conversation she had with her old teammates back at headquarters, but he promises it was a total accident. He wasn't trying to eavesdrop. Because of what he heard, Ray tells Aya he's ready to be the support she never had. Aya is so relieved she could cry and tells Ray she's ready to trust him completely. A small smile spreads across Ray's face. He knows he just hit the absolute jackpot. The very next day, Ray and Aya get ready to dive into a B-rank dungeon to conquer it. Aya wonders if clearing it will make them eligible for the A-rank exam, and Ray confirms it. Then Ray drops a bomb, telling her there's something inside the dungeon that will make her stronger, and this definitely piques Aya's interest. Getting stronger is the only way she can make enough money to cover her sister's hospital bills after all. Fired up by this news, Aya shows Ray she's totally hyped and ready to take on the challenge. The two of them step into the B-rank dungeon, a massive cave sparkling with crystals. The first monsters they encounter are a pack of black wolves, which freaks Aya out, but Ray tells her to just stay back. He's got this handled. Ray dashes toward the wolves, activating his extreme body enhancement skill. Right before he reaches them, sword drawn. He slices through the monsters like they're wet paper, cutting them down one after another, leaving Aya completely speechless in the background. She's in absolute awe of how cracked Ray is. His power level isn't even in the same universe as her former party. And it's not like they were weaklings either. Ray then leads Aya to a specific spot, promising he'll support her no matter what. He just tells her to trust the plan. So Aya steps forward to face the monsters, aiming to grind out some levels real fast. Even though she can only use pretty basic attacks right now, she's determined to give it everything she's got. Aya starts casting her fireballs as the small monsters rush towards her. Meanwhile, Rei is just chilling in the back watching everything unfold. This is the perfect test to help her unlock her true power. While Aya is busy with the small fry, a gigantic monster spawns behind her. But Rei is already moving to intercept it. There's no way he's letting anything mess with Aya's training arc. Aya manages to take out the mobs, but for everyone she kills more, just keep showing up. It's like the dungeon has an infinite respawn cheat code active. To make matters worse, she takes a nasty bite on her left arm, and her mana is about to hit 0. If she can just figure out how to get past these annoying mobs. Aya's moping about how rough her life is when she glances over and sees Rei taking on a whole pack of high-level monsters by himself. He's doing it just to make her path easier, and that's when it finally hits her that she needs to quit complaining. It's time to get in the game. Aya's ready to live up to the standard Rei's setting, and she channels all her feelings into conjuring a brand new fireball. She launches the fireball at the monsters, and thanks to all that raw emotion powering it, the spell swells up big enough to completely vaporize them. It's like a flash fry. Aya is totally shocked when she sees her fireball expanding, but her mana isn't draining at all. Rei, on the other hand, is just glad Aya is finally getting a handle on her real power. The truth is, she's actually built for endurance battles. Her mana pole is basically her ultimate weapon, and she just stumbled upon the key to using it. Aya is left completely speechless when she realizes she just unlocked a new skill called Blast Furnace. A few moments later, the two of them arrive at the boss's chamber, which is home to a massive level 52 slime. As Rei bolts towards the slime, he yells for Aya to hit it with her new skill. Aya gets the message and lets her blast furnace rip. An insane amount of firepower erupts from her, and even she's shocked by it. She can't wrap her head around the fact that she's capable of such terrifying power. Rei, however, knows exactly what she can do, because blast furnace is a skill that amps up her firepower. It comes at a high mana cost, but that basically syncs perfectly with her unique skill set. But then it suddenly dawns on Rei that the level of firepower he's seeing is way higher than he ever imagined. Aya's firestorm engulfs the entire room, turning it into a crimson inferno, and she completely wipes out the slime boss. Rei walks up to her, giving her props for a job well done. Aya is still a little shaken up at first, but she quickly pulls herself together and starts laughing. She never dreamed she was capable of something so insane. She doesn't hesitate for a second to thank Rei, though, because she knows it's all thanks to him that she found her true potential. After clearing the B-rank dungeon, the two of them head back to the surface. Aya mentions that they've finally met the condition that lets them take part in the A-rank exam. This means the only thing left is to actually pass the test. Rei smiles at her and confirms it, but deep down he's itching to take that exam and pass because it's absolutely essential. On the day of the A-rank examination, they both go to the association where Hinata fills them in. They're going to have their combat abilities measured and then get paired with someone for a mock battle. Rei is all in, ready to crush this exam, so he can finally hit A-rank for his next big plan. Aya is just as pumped, and she tells Rei he better give it his all too. Just then they run into her old party members and their annoying leader Isoyama. They start clowning on her for even trying to take the exam, but Rei immediately steps in to shut them down. He tells the party that there's no way Aya is going to lose to cowards like them. Isoyama just scoffs and starts mocking Rei. He claims he's got much better party members now, and that Rei is stuck with someone as useless as Aya. At that exact moment, the so-called better party member appears, and it turns out to be some lady. Iono Yuri. This immediately puts Rei on edge because he's definitely heard that name in his previous life. Apparently, Yuri was so OP that she once soloed a super dangerous dungeon without much effort. It was after that legendary feat that she became crazy famous. And based on the aura she's giving off, Rei instantly clocks that Yuri is probably already an A-rank mage. Yuri then strolls right up to Rei, telling him he seems like a pretty interesting guy, which totally catches Rei off guard. He's left just staring at her, completely confused. Aya gets worried seeing Rei act so strange and calls out his name, but the moment Yuri hears it, she connects the dots. She instantly figures out that he must be Kai's older brother. On top of that, she's heard that Kai actually lost to him. This news completely blindsides Rei, who had no idea his reputation was spreading like that. Aya, on the other hand, is absolutely floored that Rei actually defeated Kai. She's so shocked she has to ask him right then and there if it's for real. Yuri just turns to Rei and says that while he might be decent, he stands zero chance against her. Yuri straight up says the Purple King Kai is a total pushover compared to her right, as all the mages are linking up at the training grounds. They're all getting ready to throw down and test their fighting skills on this artificial golem the association whipped up for them. Apparently, this golem is built different, covered in a special kind of rock that's way tougher than normal stone. All the mages are told to go all out against it. Rei is the first one called up to the plate to test his might against this golem. He gets in front of it and summons a fireball, but the other mages just start laughing at him for even thinking of using a fire spell. A fire element against a metal-type golem, bruh. As he charges forward, Rei himself is pretty sure the fire element is going to be completely useless. But right before impact, he pulls a pro-gamer move and fuses the fire attack with an ice shard, creating the fire lance. Rei yeets the fire lance at the golem, and it completely shatters the thing's head, leaving a huge cloud of smoke. The supervisor goes to check on the golem, and when he gets no response, he confirms it's been totally wrecked. The same mages who were just clowning on Rei are now whispering in complete awe since they never expected him to take the golem down, let alone in a single hit. Yuri, however, is genuinely impressed by how Rei seamlessly fused two opposing elements. He literally cooked up an even stronger attack on the fly. Rei can't help but crack a smile. He's obviously proud of how that went down. As for Aya, she's up for the mana pool measurement test, where she has to hold a crystal ball to get an accurate reading. The moment she steps up to touch it, her garbage former party members are already heckling her. They're telling her she should be ashamed to even show her face at the exam. However, everyone in the room has their jaw on the floor when the device lights up, displaying her absolutely cracked firepower. Isoyama just can't believe it and immediately starts screeching that Aya has to be cheating. After all the other tests are finished, the examiner announces that the mock battles are the final part of the exam. And for the very first matchup, Aya finds herself pitted against her number one hater, Isoyama. Aya is the picture of calm as she prepares to face off against the girl. But Isoyama is itching for this fight, thinking it's her big chance to expose Aya for the fraud she thinks she is. The battle begins. Isoyama fires off a whole barrage of ice needles at Aya, but she effortlessly shatters all of them with one giant fireball. The blast sends shards of ice flying everywhere, almost blinding Isoyama herself. Isoyama is completely stunned by this display. She had no idea Aya was packing that kind of heat. She's still reeling from the shock, but here's the thing, Aya hasn't even broken a sweat. Aya whips up another fireball and hurls it straight at Isoyama. Isoyama feels the terrifying power radiating from that fireball and quickly throws up a mana barrier, hoping it will save her. Even as the attack flies at her, she's still mocking Aya, saying her plan is too simple to work. She figures she'll just block this attack and then hit her with a counter to take her out. Suddenly, a horrifying realization dawns on her. This isn't just one attack. Aya's spell isn't stopping. Meanwhile, Aya is absolutely spamming a storm of fireballs at Isoyama, who's cowering behind her mana shield. With that kind of non-stop pressure, the mana barrier just shatters, and you can see Isoyama is completely shook. True to form, Isoyama tries to make a run for it, but her cowardly escape gets cut short when a piece of rubble clips her. Boom! Isoyama gets absolutely rocked by Aya's fireball, taking a direct hit to the back of the head. As she slams into the dirt, her mind is just completely short-circuiting. She just can't process the fact that Aya is now stronger than her, and the examiner has to call the match right then and there, announcing that Aya is the winner. Aya's face is pure hype, and when she gets back to the stands, Rei gives her a solid nice one. Still beaming, Aya says she can't believe she actually pulled it off, and wishes Rei good luck in his upcoming fight against Yuri. Yuri, cool as a cucumber, just tells Rei it's their turn, as they both head down to the arena. Once they're in the ring, Yuri gets curious and asks Rei what his deal is, like, why is he even taking this exam? Rei keeps his mouth shut, and Yuri smirks, noting that he seems way more put together than the other chumps. Rei finally speaks up, explaining he's got a mission that he absolutely has to complete. And for that reason, he's not about to let Yuri get in his way. Hearing this gets a smile out of Yuri, and she flexes this insane aura, a not-so-subtle reminder that she's built different. Rei's just like, yeah, I know, but he's dead-ass confident he's the one walking away with the W. Yuri's low-key impressed by his swagger, and decides this they've talked enough, it's time to throw down. Yuri doesn't waste a second, immediately unleashing a volley of mana blades straight at Rei. Rei draws his sword to parry, but bruh, it's a struggle. Turns out Yuri is using a special skill called mana conversion. It basically lets her control her mana like it's an extension of her own body. Out of nowhere, Yuri drops a crazy powerful attack that almost turns Ray into a pancake, but he dodges just in the nick of time. Yuri's got this wicked grin telling Ray he got lucky with that dodge. But honestly, Ray's sick of playing defense. He decides to switch things up and charges right at her, but Yuri isn't about to let him get close. She starts chucking long-range attacks at him, but Ray throws up a mana barrier to block the incoming fire. Ray closes the distance in a flash and swings his sword with enough force to take her head clean off. But she's too quick leaping backward. While she's still airborne, Ray goes for the kill shot with his fire lance, but Yuri pulls out that mana conversion skill again, whipping up a shield that completely tanks his powerful attack. She even has the nerve to say he gave it a good shot. Ray, on the other hand, is starting to sweat. Her defense is like a fortress with no doors. It's completely impenetrable. No cap, Ray knows she's the real deal. Yuri then decides it's her turn to go on the offensive. She starts firing off multiple long-range beams right at him, forcing Ray to start scrambling around the arena just to stay alive. Ray's gotta admit her attacks are a huge pain, and all the while Yuri is just taunting him, saying there's no way he can win by just running around like a coward. That's when Ray stops and faces her, and Yuri immediately locks on, ready to fire. She thinks it's game over for him, but Ray's got an ace up his sleeve. The second those attacks are about to land, he pops his physical enhancement and just slices through everything she throws at him. Yuri is completely floored, but she's far from finished with Ray. She admits she's never seen anyone who can rock 3 different mana colors before. But then she drops a bombshell she can use body enhancement too. She activates it and summons a freaking scythe with her primary skill. Then poof, she vanishes right in front of his eyes. And the next thing he knows, Tamer, she's right behind him. Ray nearly gets his head taken off, but manages to spin around and block just in time. The force of the blow sends Ray flying backward, and with Yuri's insane speed, Ray is right back on the defensive with Yuri hunting him down like prey. Ray can't believe the sheer overwhelming power this girl is packing. And because of this, he knows he's got to do something drastic. He lets Yuri get in close and then he snatches her hand. Yuri just scoffs at him for it, thinking it's a completely useless move. And that's when it hits her, something is seriously wrong. Before she can even react, Ray straight up yoinks her body enhancement skill. She stumbles backward, pure panic on her face, as she feels her power just draining away, leaving her wide open. Ray sees his chance and doesn't hesitate, slamming a brutal punch right into her chest. Yuri coughs up blood, a wave of pain washing over her, as she crumples to the ground. She's in total disbelief. This dude was sandbagging the entire time, hiding how cracked he really was. With Yuri down for the count and completely unable to fight back, Ray is declared the winner of the duel. Later, Yuri's eyes flutter open in a hospital room, where she sees Ray and Aya waiting. They're both super relieved to see she's finally awake. She doesn't make any excuses, admitting right away that she got completely bodied in that fight. She tells Ray she had absolutely no idea he was on a whole other level of strong. With a much softer tone, Yuri asks him why he bothered to visit. In response, Ray just bows his head humbly. He then asks Yuri if she would consider joining his party. Yuri's completely floored by the offer. Ray explains that after reviewing the battle, she was also promoted to A rank. Ray's being real with her. They desperately need her firepower if they want any chance of clearing the high-level dungeons. He's still making his case, when Yuri just cuts him off with a loud laugh. She calls him a really interesting guy, that's for sure. Yuri doesn't waste any time and tells Ray she's in, she'll follow his lead. Ray is stoked to hear it, and the two shake hands, sealing the deal. But then out of nowhere, the ground starts shaking violently. Ray's instantly on edge, wondering what the hell is happening. Unbeknownst to him, the big bad Kronos is putting all his energy into breaking out of his magical prison. He just needs a little more juice to pull it off. Then as quickly as it started, the shaking stops. A chill runs down Ray's spine. He remembers this from his past life earthquakes, just like this happened right before the Ikabukuro dungeon collapsed. Ray puts 2 and 2 together. The clock is ticking down to the next dungeon break. Even though that dungeon is an absolute nightmare, Ray knows they don't have a choice at this point. So, he drops the bomb on the girls. His plan is to conquer the dungeon. And they understandably freak out. They're quick to remind him that dungeon is the toughest one in the entire region, which basically makes his plan a suicide mission. Yuri then asks if he's only suggesting this insane plan because of the earthquake that just happened. Ray doesn't deny it, admitting that he's got a seriously bad feeling about it all. Ray explains that there have been a ton of reports about abnormally strong monsters popping up lately, and he's betting it's all just a warm-up for something far more dangerous on the horizon. Yuri, being the battle junkie she is, honestly doesn't care about the reason. As long as she gets a good fight, she's happy to follow his lead. Seeing that Yuri is on board, Aya immediately chimes in, assuring Rei that she's with him too. Rei's relieved to hear it and thanks them both. The very next day, Rei and his brand new party put in a request with Hinata to conquer the Ikabukuro dungeon. They get the green light and the trio heads for the entrance. And Yuri, because she's built different, is absolutely vibrating with excitement to take on the challenge. Aya mentions it would have been way better if they had more backup, but Rei says that's just not possible. The association has a strict limit on how many A-rank mages they can send out at once. Rei quietly thinks to himself how much easier this would be if a certain person named Oikawa was with them like before his regression. Back in the day, Oikawa was known as one of the most OP mages in all of Japan. Rei's terrified that if the dungeon break happens, Kronos will show up again, and he's determined to stop that at all costs. Right before they enter, the girls tell Rei to chill with the formalities and just call them by their first names. Not wanting to waste another second, he's like, "Bet," and agrees. And with that, the new trio steps through the gate and into the dungeon. The very first monster they run into is a level 71 skull demon, and Rei is absolutely stunned. Bruh, a monster this strong is usually a final boss in other lower-level dungeons. And yet here it is just chilling at the very entrance. With zero chill, the trio charges straight at the skull demon, but the thing instantly throws up a mana barrier. Rei knows they gotta pop that bubble first, so he yeets a fire lance right at the shield. But bruh, a single fire lance barely even tickles the barrier. It's just not strong enough to break through. That's the cue for Aya and Yuri, who unleash a combo attack to finally take the shield down. This creates the perfect opening for Rei to dash in and just slice the monster clean in half. Defeating it nets them a pretty big green monostone. Rei gives the girls major props for their impeccable timing on shattering that barrier. This gives Yuri the courage to finally ask Rei the question that's been on her mind. How the heck is he able to use so many different skills? Rei thinks about it for a second before finally spilling the beans, revealing he's got an ability called Skill Drain. The girls are totally confused by this, so Rei breaks it down for them. He explains that by simply touching someone, he can literally yoink their skill. It suddenly clicks for Yuri, remembering what went down during their duel, but Rei is quick to assure her that he already gave her skill back. Aya, on the other hand, is just completely floored. She never expected Rei to be packing such an absolutely cracked skill. She finally gets why Rei was so confident about them clearing the dungeon. No cap, as long as Rei's with them, she feels like This also fires Aya up, making her determined not to be dead weight for the team. With their confidence boosted, the team pushes even deeper into the dungeon, and before long they find themselves standing before the boss's room. Aya points out that the ground is shaking way more intensely now, and she can't help but wonder if they're actually ready for the boss monster. But Rei just tells her that they've all leveled up quite a bit on their way here. Because of that, he's sure they can pull this off. Aya has to admit his logic is sound. She's more than ready to prove she's not a liability to the team. All of a sudden, something lunges from the shadows and grabs Aya before anyone can even react. They whip around to see a terrifying level 89 Grim Reaper, which is the actual dungeon boss. Rei is completely stunned, and Loki terrified because the boss isn't supposed to be outside of its room. A million questions are running through his head, but the only thing that matters right now is that they're in a world of hurt. Rei yells to Yuri that even though things look grim, they don't have a choice, they have to save Aya. Rei screams Aya's name, desperately checking if she's alright. Apparently Aya managed to cast a mana barrier, which is the only thing stopping her from being crushed, but Rei is still worried sick. Even though Aya has a massive mana pool, it's not infinite, and that shield won't last forever. His best move here would be to just nuke it with his Abyss Flame, but he can't, since Aya would be caught right in the blast zone. The only real solution is to figure out a way to get her out of that monster's grip. So, Rei tells Yuri he's going to grab the monster's attention, and he needs her to find an opening to save Aya. With a plan that's shaky at best, the two of them charge toward the boss. Rei plants himself right in the monster's line of sight, and he barely dodges a tentacle that comes whipping at his head. The impact from that attack completely shatters the floor, shocking Rei to his core. He realizes in that instant that if he takes a direct hit from one of those things, he's toast. Just when he thinks he's in the clear, another tentacle shoots out from behind him. Aya is convinced he's done for, screaming his name out in sheer terror. Thankfully, Rei manages to use Mana Hand to yank himself out of the way just in time, letting out a massive sigh of relief. While all this is going down, Yuri finally gets the opening she needs to get close to the monster. She swings her scythe with all her might, hoping for a crit, but the attack just pings right off its hide. That's when they figure it out. The monster is using some kind of strengthening skill. Yuri is forced to fall back before she gets absolutely flattened by the monster's giant tentacles. Rei rushes over to her, and she insists that she's okay. But they both can tell something is way off about this whole situation. Tentacle monsters are supposed to be glass cannons with low defense. This is the first time Rei has ever even seen one with a defensive buff. This thing is built different. On top of all the other weird stuff happening, the monster is now outside its room. And little does our hero know Kronos is secretly pulling all the strings behind this chaotic mess. But right now, the monster is coming at them with zero chill, and they don't have a second to think up a game plan. Meanwhile, Aya is stuck inside her own protective bubble, feeling like this whole disaster is her fault. She realizes she's been way too passive, always letting Rei be the one to solve everything. She starts racking her brain, desperate to find something she can actually do to turn the tide. Before they know it, Yuri and Rei are in huge trouble because their mana is almost completely tapped out from all the fighting. Rei is just about to throw in the towel when a wild idea suddenly sparks in his mind. He screams at Aya, telling her to blast them with her mana fusion. Aya is completely shocked to hear this, and so is Yuri, who thinks the skill is totally useless, since it's a massive mana guzzler. Rei totally gets why they're skeptical. The skill was considered absolute garbage in his past life too. But that was before a certain legendary mage came along. It was later discovered just how cracked the skill really was. And surprised, that legendary mage was none other than Aya herself, who figured it all out before the regression. Aya is also hesitant since she's never used it before, but hey, if Rei says to do it, you bet she will. In that instant, Aya unleashes her skill, hitting the two of them right on target. Yuri is stunned when she feels her mana starting to recharge, but Rei just cracks a smile. He already knows the true nature of this power. Apparently, mana fusion has a hidden effect that lets the caster share their own mana, but it's a pro-level skill that only a mage with an insane amount of mana can even hope to use. Aya is hyped when she sees it working, but then she realizes the amount of mana she's transferring isn't nearly enough. It clicks in her head. Her mana transfer is being throttled because of the defensive barrier she put up. To properly back up her team, she drops her shield, which gives the monster the perfect chance to snatch her up. Despite being captured, Aya manages to send out all of her remaining mana for her friends to use. Once the transfer is complete, she weakly tells them that it's all up to them now. Seeing their teammates sacrifice, the two of them get a massive pour-up of determination, ready to absolutely destroy this monster. They both charge the creature, fully prepared to tear it limb from limb to get Aya back. Now that their mana is back to full, they finally have the firepower to bust through the monster's defenses by activating their enhancement skills. They start wrecking the monsters around them, and Rei yells at Yuri to keep the pressure on so they can rescue Aya. Rei spots a chance to get to Aya, but the monster is one step ahead, immediately shifting Aya's position and making their job even tougher. Rei quickly sees that the way things are going, they're never going to reach her. But Yuri tells him not to sweat it. She's going to open up a path for him. Yuri then unleashes her primary skill, creating a massive aura that forms a staircase for Rei to climb on to reach Aya. Thankful for the assist, Rei immediately dashes up the aura stairs toward Aya. The monster tries to block his way with its tentacles, but Rei, fueled by pure fury, cuts them down with ease. With incredible speed and resolve, he gets to Aya and slices her free from the monster's clutches. Rei lands safely on the ground and immediately checks on Aya to make sure she's not hurt. Aya opens her eyes, smiling, and saying Rei is just as clutch as he's always been. Yuri then runs over, telling Aya that she was the one who actually saved them with her skill. Yuri has to admit Aya has some serious nerve, but even though they've rescued Aya, their main mission to defeat the monster is still on. Rei and Yuri turn back to the beast, but things are about to get way harder because it's already regenerating its tentacles. Yuri realizes they're pretty much screwed, and she turns to Rei, basically asking what the game plan is. Rei just tells Yuri to chill and let him handle it, and even though she's low-key skeptical, she agrees to let him cook. Without a second thought, Rei bolts toward the monster, promising Yuri he's about to end this thing for good. But she's completely floored when she realizes that our boy is running headfirst into battle with absolutely no weapon. Just as Rei's about to land a hit on the monster's main body, it pops out a brand new tentacle to block his way. But Rei just taps into his overclock power, hoping to seriously amp up his firepower before he unleashes the Abyss Flame. His entire body gets shrouded in this sick dark aura as he shoots a massive flame at the monster straight up, blowing its head wide open. The colossal beast comes crashing to the ground, leaving Kronos absolutely shook. He He genuinely wasn't expecting the so-called Grim Reaper to get bodied that easily. But even so, he's dead set on making sure Ray and his friends don't walk out of this place alive. The team is in the middle of celebrating their win when some nasty black goo suddenly erupts from the monster's corpse, and it shoots directly at Aya. It almost turns her into a human shish kebab. But Ray's reflexes are on another level, and he yanks her out of the way just in time. Ray can tell this fluid is getting stronger by the second, so he screams at the girls to make a run for it while they still can. As they're all sprinting for their lives, Ray is just praying they don't die now. Not after they manage to stop the whole dungeon from collapsing. They're so close to the exit, but the fluid closes the distance about to swallow the trio whole, when a brilliant golden shield materializes around them, and a commanding voice tells them to step back. The team turns around to get a look at their hero, who is none other than the legendary Oikawa Hikaru. The girls are stunned when Oikawa says his name because Ray had literally mentioned him before they went into the dungeon. Ray admits that, yep, this is the same guy he was hoping to get help from, which makes sense because Oikawa is on a whole different level than them. We're talking about a dude who is currently an S-rank mage. Not only that, but before Ray's regression, he was famously known as the Yellow King. Ray knows for a fact that they would have been toast if Oikawa hadn't slid in at the last possible second to shield them with his barrier magic. Oikawa gives them a little wink, saying he's just glad he made it in time to save the day. Oikawa explains that he was tied up in another dungeon, a special request from the country, but then he got an urgent call, and the person on the other end was none other than Hinata. Oikawa then hits Ray with a shocker, revealing he knows he's Kai's brother, and assures him he's got nothing to fear. Apparently he was just curious about him. Ray is massively relieved to hear that, and finally thanks Oikawa for the clutch save. Oikawa just brushes it off, like it's no big deal, and tells Ray that what he did was the truly impressive part. I mean, he took down the final boss of the dungeon all by himself. Just then the mana stone from the defeated monster drops to the ground, and Oikawa's eyes go wide at how absolutely massive it is. Oikawa quickly figures out that the dungeon boss must have been insanely strong and casually tosses the giant mana stone to Ray, who fumbles a bit but manages to catch it before it hits the floor. Oikawa congratulates Ray, saying he's looking forward to seeing what he does next, and with that he just strolls out of the dungeon, and the rest of the team quickly follows behind him. Back inside the association building, Yuri comments that Oikawa is one interesting character, and Ray totally agrees with her. Hinata practically has a heart attack when she sees them, and she starts screaming asking if they're okay. Hinata had been completely freaking out, because the team was taking way too long inside the dungeon. Hinata then starts laying into Ray for charging straight into that dungeon right after he submitted his application. Especially since this particular one, Hinata then asks them how far they got, probably assuming they were still at the entrance. So she and her co-workers almost pass out when Ray casually tells them they've already conquered the entire dungeon. They can't process what they're hearing and just start screaming their heads off like a bunch of lunatics. The news that the Ikebukuro dungeon has been conquered starts spreading like wildfire. The second that dungeon is conquered, every guild in the city starts scrambling, trying to be the first to scout the person who cleared it. When she gets in front of the press, Aya announces that she's finally earned enough money to take care of her sister's hospital bills. On top of that, she gives a massive shout out to Ray for giving her such a huge opportunity. Isoyama and her crew are seething as they watch this, but Isoyama is still convinced that Aya must have cheated somehow. It's the same deal with Kai, who's absolutely fuming that Ray was the one to conquer the dungeon. The news of Ray's achievement blows up everywhere, especially since he used to be known as the colorless mage. Group chats are going absolutely nuclear with friends calling each other out, saying they need to track Ray down and apologize for talking so much trash about him. While everyone is losing their minds over how cracked Ray is, he's just thinking about his next power-up, since he knows he only cleared the dungeon, because he had so much help from his team. 3 days later, Ray gets a summons from Hinata to come to the association, who tells him there's something he absolutely has to hear. Ray and the girls are completely floored when Hinata reveals they have received an official request to clear a dungeon. Aya can't believe it, saying they just barely became A-rank mages, but Hinata explains that this is only happening because of what they just accomplished. Usually mages have to request to explore dungeons themselves, so getting a formal official request from the higher-ups is a VIP treatment that the association only gives to a very select few. Aya grins, telling Ray that everyone is counting on him, but our boy isn't having it, saying the whole party is what matters. Ray then cuts to the chase and asks Hinata who sent the request. She tells him she can't spill the beans, because the bigwigs told her to keep the client's identity a secret. As you'd expect, Yuri is all for accepting the mission, mostly because it sounds like a ton of fun. Ray feels like he has to accept since the offer came directly through the association. It's not like it's some sketchy back alley deal, so it should be safe. Right then, Hinata casually mentions that an S-rank mage will be joining them on this mission. The next day, the party makes their way to the location where they're supposed to link up with this so-called S-rank mage. Aya is buzzing with excitement, wondering who this person could be, but when they finally meet them, they're all in for a massive shock, because it's Oikawa waiting for them right at the dungeon's entrance. Ray says he never would have pegged Oikawa as their escort, and Oikawa just grins, admitting he knew the whole time. He claims he just wanted to keep it a secret to make a big entrance. Oikawa then goes on about how he's looking forward to this, especially since the entire world is watching them now. Aya is stunned by how laid-back Oikawa is, and Ray agrees, but he also reminds her that the man is still an S-rank for a reason. Even so, Ray asks Oikawa if the rumors about a super tricky mechanism inside the dungeon are legit, and Oikawa confirms they are. Apparently, the scouting team came back with a report about a huge wall of fire blocking their way, which definitely piques Ray's interest. He immediately asks how they're supposed to get past something like that. Oikawa just smirks and reminds them all about his overpowered barrier skill. He boasts that with him around that firewall is basically a glorified nightlight. Ray can't help but notice how insanely overconfident this guy is, wondering if he thinks this whole thing is a joke. It's almost as if Oikawa read his thoughts, because he tells Ray he'll see just how cool he is in battle, claiming he's about to carry the entire team. Suddenly, a horde of monsters pops out of nowhere, and Ray tells his party to get ready for a fight. He's also pretty interested to see what an S-rank mage is actually capable of. But then he looks over and sees Oikawa huddled in the corner with pure terror written all over his face. Oikawa tells the trio to take care of the monsters because he's not really familiar with this particular type of beast that they're about to throw down with. Aya calls him out on his "I'm gonna carry the team" speech, but Ray just tells his crew to focus on the monsters and to just ignore the coward in the back. The three of them get into formation and immediately start launching a barrage of long-range attacks at the approaching monsters model. In complete contrast, Yuri charges headfirst toward the monsters without a shred of doubt. She's basically yelling that these things are a total joke compared to the last that they had fought against in the past. Aya and Yuri absolutely wipe the floor with most of the monsters, while Ray just mops up the leftovers with his epic fire lance. Oikawa is just watching from the sidelines, completely shook by what he sees. After all the monsters are finally taken care of, Aya gets super hyped and celebrates with Ray, while Oikawa crawls out from his hiding spot claiming he can't stand bugs. He thanks them for saving his skin, but then out of nowhere, a pack of wolves materializes and charges straight at him. But this dude's whole vibe shifts. He gets dead serious and traps them in this crazy square box, killing them off like it was nothing. Ray and his team are mind-blown by this, and he straight up asks Oikawa what kind of cracked skill he just used. Oikawa casually explains that the skill is called Square Box, and mentions that it's one of his barrier abilities, though it doesn't work on huge enemies. This hits different for Ray. He's heard legends about this skill before, but this is the first time he's actually seen it in action. Once the coast is clear, Oikawa tells them it's time to get a move on. As Ray trails behind him, he's in total awe. Oikawa is basically the poster boy for what an S-rank hunter is supposed to be. In no time, they reach the massive wall of fire, which looks exactly like the report described. You can feel the insane heat from meters away without even getting close, but Oikawa just steps right up. With zero chill, he uses his barrier magic to carve a path straight through the flames, and the team walks through the passage totally hyped. On the other side, they find another hole that leads right into the boss's lair. And since everyone's ready to go, Ray gives the signal for them to head into the boss's chambers. Loki Oikawa is dying to see what Ray is really capable of. He needs to know if our boy is legit, or just a total fraud. The second they step inside, Ray complains about how hot it is, a dead giveaway that the upcoming enemy is no joke. And right on cue, the boss steps out, revealing itself to be a level 68 flame garm. The sheer presence of this monster is enough to give Ray the major creeps. Ray starts to panic as the beast stomps toward them, telling the crew to throw up a mana barrier, but Oikawa just tells him to chill out. The monster unleashes a massive wave of fire breath, but Oikawa's barrier blocks it like it was a gentle summer breeze. This display absolutely floors Ray, and Oikawa tells him he'll handle all the defense while they focus on attacking. Ray confirms the order, but you can see the gears turning in his head as he tries to figure out a plan. He knows that the barrier isn't invincible, If it takes too many heavy hits, it could shatter at any moment. Ray considers using his Abyss Flame, but he ditches that idea almost immediately because the monster is ridiculously fast. And on top of that, it's a boss-level threat. Since his Abyss Flame drains a ton of mana, Ray realizes he's got to find another way to bring this thing down. So, he decides to lead the charge himself. He tells Yuri and Aya to keep their eyes peeled for any opening to strike. As he gets closer to the monster, Ray activates his body enhancement and leaps towards it. He fakes out the beast, making it think he's coming, straight for its head, but then he zips behind it and lands a nasty critical hit. Yuri and Aya provide support from a distance, peppering the boss with their long-range skills. But even with their combined assault, the monster is still moving just fine. This just confirms Ray's worst fear. This thing is built different. He quickly realizes that they're going to be at a huge disadvantage if this fight drags on any longer. Ray's already dripping sweat from the intense heat, and he knows that taking this monster down quickly is the top priority. All the while, Uekawa is just watching from the back, waiting to see what Ray's next move will be, now that he's in such a tight spot. Just then, Ray shouts at Yuri and Aya, telling them to start aiming their attacks at the monster's feet, instead of its main body. Yuri and Aya immediately catch on to his plan and start blasting away at the monster's legs. Aya even kicks it up a notch, slamming the monster with a skill called Stone Bullet. This forces the monster to start jumping all over the place, but Ray's already figured out that no matter how agile it is there's no way it can dodge anything while it's in the air. Ray rockets toward the beast, and right as he's about to connect, he completely flash freezes his blade. Uekawa can't help but be impressed. Since the monster is basically a sitting duck in the sky, Ray lands a massive critical hit that sends it plummeting straight to the ground. It's a total KO. The girls like clockwork run over to hype him up, but he just tells them that they're the real MVPs. Uekawa is low-key impressed with their synergy and realizes the reports on Ray didn't lie. Still, Uekawa has a gut feeling that Ray is holding back a ton of power. Just then, Ray suggests they should all head back to the association to file their reports, but Uekawa tells him to pump the brakes. Uekawa whips out that mysterious square box and tells Ray he wants to run a little test. He explains that the box is designed to capture monsters, but it also doubles as an insane training tool. Uekawa finally comes clean, admitting he wants to see Ray's true power, so he challenges Ray to defeat the monster locked inside, the one that's sealed away in the box. He promises to reseal the creature if things get too hairy, but he makes it clear that Ray has to be the one to give the safe word. It all clicks for Ray now. He finally gets why Uekawa tagged along, and even though he doesn't know the guy's real angle yet, Ray absolutely can't pass up a golden opportunity to grind some serious experience points. So Ray tells Uekawa he's in, and with that, Uekawa unseals the cube. In an instant, a horrifying black shadow starts pouring out from the box. Turns out the monster inside is a shapeshifter that takes the form of its opponent's greatest fear. Uekawa is practically buzzing with excitement to see what it'll turn into, and no surprise, Ray's worst nightmare emerges. Kronos himself steps out of the box. Uekawa is absolutely floored by this, since he's never ever seen a monster like this before. While Uekawa is geeking out over this new discovery, Ray is having a full-blown panic attack, and Yuri and Aya are just confused. They have no idea why the black blob suddenly morphed into a humanoid figure. But just by looking at it, they can tell this thing hits different. It's definitely not a normal monster. At the same time, Uekawa is trying to figure out what kind of creature he's looking at, and if Ray has some kind of history with it. Ray, on the other hand, is shook, because even though he knows this isn't the real Kronos, the overwhelming pressure it's giving off feels 100% authentic. Ray shoves down his fear and charges straight at the monster. He's trying to land the first blow, but Kronos whips out his iconic long red sword and parries the attack effortlessly. Even though his attack got shut down, Ray isn't fazed one bit. It actually psyches him up. Before Kronos can even think about a counterattack, Ray backflips to create some distance. Suddenly, he notices the color of Kronos' eyes is shifting. At the very last second, Ray throws himself out of the way as a destructive shockwave blasts the spot where he was just standing. This blows the minds of the trio watching the fight, because they didn't even see Kronos move to launch the attack. It was a completely invisible strike. Uekawa is seriously impressed that Ray managed to dodge that no cap. What they don't know is that Ray only dodged it because he has a cheat code he fought Kronos before his regression. Ray instantly conjures an ice spear and blitzes toward Kronos, but as he gets closer, he sees Kronos crack a chilling smile. This throws Ray off for just a second, giving Kronos the opening he needs to land a solid punch that sends our boy flying. Aya screams, thinking Ray is done for, but thankfully he's able to tank the hit. Rei's starting to get worried now, because he really didn't expect Kronos to just shrug off his attack so easily. Aya tells Oikawa that this has gotten way too dangerous, and he actually agrees. Oikawa decides it's time to put the monster back in the box, stretching out his hand to activate his power. But then Oikawa realizes something's majorly wrong. Yuri picks up on it too, noticing he's stressing out, but nothing's actually happening. She's like, "Dude, hurry up and get the box." Oikawa fires back that he's trying his best, but the shadow is straight up fighting him. And that's when the penny drops. They realize something way out of their league just broke free. Even Oikawa is completely blindsided. I mean, the box has literally never pulled a stunt like this before. Seeing that this whole monster situation is going sideways fast, Yuri and Aya decide it's their turn to play. They make a beeline for the creature before Rei even has a chance to tell them to chill. Both of them launch their attacks in sync, but Kronos just casually swats them away and sends them flying with a nasty counter. The duo slams into the ground, kicking up a huge explosion. Rei can only watch in horror, desperately trying to see if his friends are even still breathing. Oikawa, looking absolutely wrecked, apologizes for this whole mess and tells Rei he's gonna handle it. With that, he throws up his barrier magic, trying to lock Kronos down. But Oikawa's newfound confidence evaporates when Kronos just gives him a dirty smirk and shatters the barrier like it's glass. A wave of pure dread washes over Rei and Oikawa. They seriously didn't think Kronos could just nope out of that barrier magic. Oikawa's gotta admit they're in deep trouble now. He says if they don't play this smart, they're all about to get deleted. Rei takes a hot second to process what's happening and pieces it together. This fake Kronos is using some kind of busted skill. No cap, he figures out the monster is literally pulling the appearance and skills of Kronos straight from his own memories. Just like that, the solution hits him like a bolt of lightning, and he tells Oikawa to stand down. Rei flashes back to his past life where his only move against Kronos was to run for the hills. But he knows that right now, if he doesn't make a move, he's just gonna stay stuck in the past. So, Rei takes a massive leap of faith, charging straight at the monster. His theory is that the creature's entire form is just a product of that weird skill. As he closes in, the beast swings its sword like a maniac, but Rei smoothly dodges the attack. This gives Rei the opening he needs to get right up in its face. The second he makes contact, he pops his skill drain. An absolutely massive blast of energy erupts from the point of contact, and just like that, Rei's gambit pays off. The monster disintegrates into nothing but dust, signaling it's game over. Oikawa is just frozen there, sweat pouring down his face, wondering what kind of absolutely broken skill he just witnessed. And for the first time, he starts seriously questioning who the hell Rei really is. Fast forward 3 days, and we see Yuri and Oikawa meeting up inside some mysterious building. As they stroll down a long hallway, they're recapping the insane events from a few days ago. Yuri tells Oikawa he should be counting his lucky stars, that Rei even forgave him for that fiasco. Oikawa totally agrees, but there's a catch. He points out to Yuri that Rei is on a whole other level, way more cracked than what her initial report even hinted at. They finally reach this massive door, and sitting inside the huge room beyond it is the one and only Blue King, Hojo Itsuki. The two of them immediately bow to show their respect, but he just tells them to chill out and be casual. Turns out Hojo's been off the grid for a while, clearing dungeons in other countries. Oikawa is pretty surprised that Hojo is juggling so many responsibilities, but Hojo just shrugs it off. He explains that the bigwigs at the association are always on his case, and since someone's got to do the dirty work, he doesn't really have a choice. Yuri then connects the dots, saying the fact Hojo was summoned too must mean the dungeon he was tackling was just as dangerous as the Ikebukuro one. Yuri's low-key blown away that Hojo had to handle that level of threat in 10 different spots. It just goes to show you that the dude is absolutely built different. Hojo then decides it's time to get down to the real reason they're all here. He tells them both he wants the full scoop on this kid named Rei. They're more than happy to oblige, and a few moments later, they've spilled all the tea they have on Rei. Hojo is seriously impressed, and Oikawa chimes in saying that Rei is no joke, and from what he's seen, the kid might actually be stronger than him, an S-rank mage. Hojo can't believe it. Not only are Rei's combat skills top tier, but he also has an OP ability that lets him just yoink skills from other people. What Hojo and Oikawa don't realize is that Yuri is holding back even more info. She's keeping it on the down low because if she told them everything, their minds would literally explode. Hojo admits that based on everything he's just heard, this Rei kid has definitely caught his interest. Before they bounce, he asks them to do him a solid later on. So, Rei and Aya are just minding their own business, walking past the front desk at the association building, when all of a sudden Hinata is screaming Rei's name like her life depends on it. Rei immediately books it over to her, trying to figure out what's got her so worked up. Hinata looks absolutely crushed, telling Rei she has no clue what he did to get this kind of heat brought down on him. He's like, just spit it out, what's wrong? And that's when she drops the bomb he's been summoned by the Blue King. Apparently, the big man himself wants a personal meeting. Not long after Rei finds himself heading to Hojo's palace. And let me tell you, the guy is completely starstruck. The second he lays eyes on Hojo, it all hits him. This is the Blue King, the guy who in his past life was known as the realest of the Color King's no cap. Rei didn't just respect Hojo, he straight up idolized the dude for his insane power. But it wasn't just about strength. Hojo made it his mission to protect the weak, and his words always resonated with Rei, pushing him to become a better person. But then disaster struck. Hojo got swept up in a massive dungeon collapse, and he ended up getting taken out in the middle of the fight. The guy basically turned himself into a human shield to make sure all the civilians got out safely during the evacuation. He died a hero, saving countless people in the process. So, now back in the present, Rei is racking his brain trying to figure out what a legend like Hojo could possibly want with him. Just as he's thinking, Yuri strolls into the room, which is a shock, but the real kicker is seeing Oikawa there too. Hojo breaks the silence, saying he'll explain everything. He reveals that both Oikawa and Yuri are actually his personal scouts. Their whole job is to find talented people across the globe. They're members of a group called the Apostles of the Holy Staff. Rei's jaw hits the floor when he hears that name, because it definitely rings a bell. Aya quickly fills him in, explaining that they're an elite squad that answers directly to the Blue King and nobody else. And that's when Hojo comes clean. He admits that he was the one who put in the request for Rei to conquer that dungeon. Not only that, he's also the reason Oikawa was tailing him, and suddenly it all clicks for Rei. They were testing him, trying to see what he was really made of when they threw that monster at him. Yuri even admits she only joined Rei's crew because she thought it'd be a good time. Hojo cuts to the chase and tells Rei straight up he's interested in him. He wants Rei to join their ranks. But there's a catch. Hojo says he needs to see Rei's true character first, because there's still so much they don't know, especially when it comes to mages who can wield multiple colors. So, Hojo lays it all out and asks Rei a simple question. What is it that he truly desired? Rei actually has to think for a second before he answers, but when he does, it's with total conviction. He tells Hojo he wants to be stronger than anyone else on the planet. Hojo pushes him, asking if he's trying to become the strongest mage alive, a color king in his own right, someone who could actually surpass him. Rei takes a deep breath, and with a fire in his eyes, he gives his answer. He tells Hojo that, yeah, he wants to be even stronger than him. This is the answer Hojo was looking for. He's clearly impressed and gets straight to the point. He asks Rei if he'll join the Apostles of the Holy Staff. Both Rei and Aya are completely floored by the offer. Hojo just adds that he's confident Rei will thrive when he's surrounded by other absolute beasts. Once Rei accepts, Oikawa tells him to follow, and soon they walk into a room packed with elite mages. Every single one of them is under Hojo's direct command. These are the Apostles of the Holy Staff. One of the members, a guy named Kurahashi, immediately starts talking trash. He complains that their new recruit is just a kid. The others have to remind him that he's literally the same age as Rei. Apparently, this is just how he gets when he's hyped up. Oikawa tells Rei to grab a seat so he can brief everyone on Hojo's new mission. Oikawa lays it out for the team. Their next job is to conquer 2 dungeons, and they aren't just any dungeons. We're talking high-level nightmares with a recommended level of 65+. To pull this off, they're going to split into 2 squads and hit both dungeons at the same time. Oikawa announces that his team for the Makuhari dungeon will be himself, Yashiro Shiroi, and Azuma. Meanwhile, Rei and his crew are heading to the Tama dungeon. But wait, there's a catch. They're getting stuck with Kurahashi. Kurahashi absolutely loses it when he hears this, demanding to know why he's being thrown in with Rei's squad. Yuri just trolls him, asking if there's a problem, and Kurahashi grumbles that there isn't. Oikawa tries to calm him down, telling him he doesn't have anything to worry about since Rei is seriously skilled, and on top of that, he's rocking 3 different mana colors. Kurahashi ain't buying it, arguing that having a rainbow of mana doesn't mean jack because Rei's brother Kai was the exact same way. The mention of Kai's name completely rattles Rei. Kurahashi then drops a bomb. Kai used to be a member of the Apostles of the Holy Staff. He adds that people might call Kai the Purple King, but compared to them, he was basically a nobody. Rei's mind flashes back to Yuri saying the same thing about his brother. It hits him hard that this is how everyone sees Kai now. Kurahashi just keeps on running his mouth, saying that having multiple colors is just a flashy gimmick that doesn't equal real strength. He's also convinced that Uekawa was the one who hard-carried Rei through the Ikabukuro dungeon. Basically, Kurahashi is throwing all kinds of shade, calling Rei a total weakling. That's when Aya snaps, telling Kurahashi he's dead wrong because Rei is anything but weak. She says he has zero right to judge him until he has actually witnessed Rei's power firsthand. Aya's outburst actually works. Kurahashi finally backs down and agrees to join Rei's party, so with everyone on the same page. Uekawa says the plan is a go. He tells Kurahashi that he's about to see Rei's real power for himself. Kurahashi still thinks Uekawa is just glazing the kid and tells him to quit hyping it up. As they get ready, Rei knows he absolutely has to flex his strength. But he's also playing the long game. He needs more allies for the final showdown with Kronos. So even though Kurahashi's words are straight up disrespectful, Rei knows he needs the guy. Soon they get to the Tama dungeon, and it isn't long before a whole swarm of monsters rushes them. Rei is trying to get the team to coordinate, but Kurahashi just cuts him off, saying that teamwork is just a massive headache. Without even a heads up, Kurahashi launches himself at the monsters, his fist charged with a powerful attack that's literally dripping with flames. A single punch from this dude shatters the entire landscape and sends out a shockwave so massive it nearly knocks Aya off her feet. With just that one hit, Kurahashi completely obliterates the monster horde and then has the nerve to taunt Rei, saying he's pretty sure Rei couldn't pull off a move like that. And just like that, Kurahashi takes off again, telling the team he's just gonna solo YOLO this whole dungeon. Rei turns to the girls and makes it clear he has no intention of letting that clown show him up. With that, he bolts after Kurahashi, leaving the girls in his dust. Rei starts wiping out monsters left and right, and Kurahashi actually tells him his moves are getting a little less pathetic. Rei just casually thanks him for the compliment. As he keeps clearing mobs, Aya complains that the whole mission has devolved into total chaos. But Yuri tells her she should be hyped, because Rei is actually keeping up with Kurahashi. Yuri explains that Kurahashi's skill is on another level. He can spam his mana attacks over a huge area without breaking a sweat. It's basically what makes him an absolute nightmare for large groups of enemies. Yuri then reveals that Kurahashi holds the official record for the highest monster kill count. But even with a legend like that, Rei is managing to go toe-to-toe with him. A huge smile spreads across Yuri's face as she declares that Rei is one hell of a mage. 10 minutes later, they're already at the boss room, which leaves Aya completely stunned. Deep down, Rei can feel a shift happening inside him, and it's all because this rivalry with Kurahashi is pushing him to a whole new level. The second they step into the boss room, the whole squad just freezes as a massive freaky eye stares down at them from the ceiling. But just as they're getting ready to throw down things, get a whole lot weirder. The boss starts sucking in the corpses of all the monsters they just bodied, and everyone's jaws hit the floor as it literally absorbs the dead. It starts morphing into something straight up terrifying. They're looking at a chimera beast, a monstrosity that's never even been documented before. Since this monster is a total unknown, Rei tries to warn Kurahashi, basically saying, "Bruh, let's play it smart." But Kurahashi has absolutely zero chill, blowing Rei off and charging straight at the beast while shouting about how he isn't intimidated. Kurahashi launches himself at the monster and unleashes a fire-laced haymaker, creating a massive explosion of flames. The whole team holds their breath, wondering if Kurahashi's insane gamble actually paid off. But when the smoke clears, the monster just tanked the hit with one of its arms, looking completely unfazed. No cap. Before Kurahashi can even process this, the beast's other arm shoots out and grabs him by the throat. Just as it's about to pop his head off like a bottle cap, Rei swoops in at the last second, yanking Kurahashi out of danger. Using his mana hand, Rei asks if he's okay, but you can tell Kurahashi is low-key more pissed about being shown up by Rei than almost dying. And to make things a million times worse, they watch in horror as the monster's damaged arm starts regenerating right before their eyes. This thing's healing factor just made it way more dangerous. As if that wasn't bad enough, the chimera tilts its head back and starts charging up what looks like a freaking laser beam. Rei instantly knows this ain't gonna be a light show and screams for everyone to scatter and find cover immediately. The beast unleashes a wave of pure destruction that carves through the room, and they all know they would have been vaporized if they hadn't moved. Even Kurahashi looks shook. He's a little relieved though, noticing the monster seems gassed and can't just spam its super move over and over. seeing this small window, Yuri decides it's her turn, launching a volley of sharp ice spears directly at the monster. To her absolute shock, though, they just shatter against its skin, doing 0 damage. That's when it hits her that Kurahashi actually managing to scorch it with his fire was a way bigger deal than she thought. Rei knows they're in a seriously bad spot, because if they just stand around, that thing is going to fire up another laser. And he's got a nasty feeling the next one will hit different. Rei wants to go for the main body, but he knows the Chimera will just block with its regenerating arms again. Suddenly, a galaxy brain idea hits him, and he tells Aya to cast Mana Fusion on Kurahashi. Aya is stunned, asking if he's for real, and Rei just confirms it with a dead serious look. So Aya does it, flooding Kurahashi with so much raw mana, he literally screams from the insane power surge. Rei yells at the supercharged Kurahashi to hit the monster's core while they still have an opening. For once, Kurahashi actually listens, rocketing toward the Chimera and slamming its body with a massive mana-infused explosion. But even with that cracked-out power boost, the monster, while definitely pissed off now, is still on its feet. And what does it do when it's pissed? It starts cooking up another laser blast. The rest of the team starts freaking out, but this is exactly what Rei was counting on. He sprints past Kurahashi, telling him he did a great job clearing the way. Rei closes the distance in a flash, getting right in the monster's face as he summons his signature terrifying black flame. The instant the monster fires its laser ray, unleashes his black flame in a massive wave that completely smothers the beam. It doesn't just block it, it shoves the attack right back at the beast. Rei's overwhelming power is more than enough to completely obliterate the monster, leaving Kurahashi just staring in disbelief. He knows deep down that even with a power-up, he couldn't have pulled that off. He's not just shocked by the raw strength, but by Rei's insane strategy to create an opening in that chaos. Finally, Kurahashi is forced to swallow his pride and admit that Rei is absolutely the real deal. Later news of Rei's victory spreads like wildfire, and the public is absolutely losing their minds over his incredible feats. Unfortunately for Kai, he's walking by as some rando clowns on him, saying Rei is the new top dog now. When Rei and his party get back to the Apostles' building, Hojo commends them for a job well done. He then asks if the Tama dungeon was more of a headache than their last run, and Rei's like, yeah, no cap. Rei says they even bumped into a brand new monster type, which gets Oikawa curious enough to ask Kurahashi for his hot take on Rei's performance. Kurahashi, trying hard not to sound impressed, admits Rei's not half bad, and even has some big brain strategies. But one of the female teammates immediately calls him out for being such a hater. She roasts him for still being salty, even after seeing Rei's skills firsthand, and Kurahashi just loses it, screaming at her to zip it. After his little tantrum, he actually turns to Rei and apologizes for all the trash he was talking earlier. And with that, Kurahashi finally admits that Rei is the real deal. Rei just smiles it off, telling Kurahashi he was glad for the backup. He says there's no need for an apology, and you can totally see Kurahashi trying to play it cool, hiding how stoked he is behind some weak excuse. But come on, bruh, everyone can see right through his tsundere act. Hojo is just relieved that Kurahashi finally came around, since there's no one left to complain about Rei joining. He then holds out his hand. Hojo presents Rei with the official badge of the Apostles. This means he's now a legit member of the team. Hojo makes it clear that Rei can still run with his own party, but he's gotta make time for the Apostles' missions too. With a firm handshake, the deal is sealed. Meanwhile, Aya is over here completely floored, because while she knew Rei was cracked, getting a direct cosign from one of the most powerful mages out there is a whole other level of insane. Kurahashi immediately tries to pull the Big Brother card, telling Rei he'll show him the ropes, but Yuri jumps in to wreck his moment. She clowns him, saying he's the one who needs a few lessons, which makes Kurahashi snap and yell at her to just shut her mouth for once. On the sidelines, Hojo's feeling pretty good about himself, realizing that pairing Kurahashi with Rei was a 5D chess move that forced them to bond. Oikawa totally gets it, knowing for a fact that Kurahashi would have vetoed Rei's recruitment if he hadn't seen his skills in action. Oikawa is seriously impressed by Hojo's galaxy brain thinking. Now that everyone is on the same page about Rei's membership, Hojo speaks up, saying he's got a pretty wild suggestion. And to Rei's utter shock, Hojo proposes that he should take on the legendary title of the Black King. Switching scenes, we see Kai and his crew getting slapped around by monsters in a dungeon, and my guy Kai is looking rough. One of his teammates yells at him to use his overclock skill, totally forgetting that Kai can't even activate it anymore. After a seriously tough fight, the party just barely manages to clear out the enemies. Kai's party members are thinking it's finally time for a break, but Kai hits them with a bombshell, telling them they're pushing even deeper into the dungeon. His teammates remind him that they've already been grinding for 5 days straight and that they should probably head back. Kai just tells the dude to shut up and get moving. This makes the guy start to wonder if blindly following Kai is even a smart move anymore. But the other party member chews him out, saying this is exactly when their leader needs their support the most. Deep down, all Kai can think about is how to conquer this dungeon as fast as possible. He's clearly on edge, and all the drama with his brother is just making things 1,000 times worse. I mean, things got so bad a reporter literally cornered Kai just to grill him about his brother. They specifically brought up the fact that Hojo himself had scouted Rei, and hearing that just poured gasoline on Kai's already raging fire. Because of all this, Kai is now obsessed with proving to his former team that he's the strongest no matter the cost. Elsewhere, some shady dude named Kronos is feeling giddy, believing he's finally found the perfect pawn for his plans. And now for a quick world-building flashback. The entire planet changed the day the dungeons first appeared. It kicked off a new era where powerful mages shot to the top of the social ladder. Mages basically became the new rock stars, signing huge brand deals and living the high life. Just being a mage was like winning the genetic lottery, but being a dual-colored mage was even crazier, and wouldn't you know it, Kai was one of the lucky few. Overnight, Kai's whole world flipped, and he basically became the hottest topic in the city. All the people who used to curve him were suddenly blowing up his phone trying to get a piece of the action. Even the super stuck-up apostles caved and let Kai join their squad, making him the youngest dude on the team. But the story goes that the team had zero chill and treated him like dirt, so Kai bounced because they just couldn't see how cracked he was. The weirdest part, Rei was the only one who didn't switch up on him. Even though Rei had no powers to speak of, Kai always caught him staring with this look in his eyes, like he thought he could actually catch up one day. This seriously pissed Kai off. He was convinced he was the world's chosen one, and here was Rei acting like he could even touch his level. So, Kai made it his mission to put Rei in his place and show him that they were playing in completely different leagues. But things have already started to change, and Rei's thinking he might actually have a shot now. So, Kai's just strolling down the street when Kurahashi pops up out of nowhere. Kurahashi brings up how the last time they met was when Kai got booted from the team, and Kai is not having it. He immediately tries to set the record straight, insisting that he quit and wasn't fired. He's convinced that Hojo was just green with envy over his skills, which is why the guy was on a power trip, instead of treating him like an equal. Then Kai throws some shade, saying he heard Rei somehow managed to snag a spot on the team. Kurahashi just looks at him and asks if he's got a problem with that. So, Kai starts running his mouth, talking all kinds of trash about Rei. But Kurahashi ain't having it and tells him to zip it. The vibe gets super serious real quick. He tells Kai he can believe whatever delusion he wants. But the fact is, Rei's power is the real deal, no cap. He points out that Rei is a dual-colored mage unlike Kai and is still keeping it low-key. This makes Kai absolutely lose it. He screams at Kurahashi to shut up, reminding him that he's the freaking Purple King. You know, only the most legendary title a mage can ever get. He demands that Kurahashi stop putting him in the same sentence as Rei. Kurahashi just hits him with a smirk. He tells Kai he's completely clueless, then drops a bomb Rei just got a recommendation to become a king himself. And get this, the recommendation came straight from Hojo. Hearing this, Kai looks like he's about to have a heart attack, because he realizes the dude is on the fast track to becoming his equal. Kurahashi twists the knife, telling Kai that Rei hasn't even said yes yet. On top of that, he makes it known that his brother isn't thirsty for titles like some people. Kurahashi ends the chat by saying Rei's already on a whole other level. That's what makes him worthy of being a king. Kai is absolutely spiraling because he can't handle the truth. The idea of Rei surpassing him is too much, so Kai's been grinding non-stop in the dungeons to stay ahead. After a marathon session of fighting, his teammates suggest tackling the boss tomorrow, but Kai just tells them to shut it. He declares that he's the strongest and shoves the boss room doors open, dead set on proving his point. But what's waiting inside is a level 20 slime. Kai is so let down it's not even funny. His crew, however, is totally freaked out. They've never seen a monster like this, and they know something is seriously wrong. Still trying to flex, Kai decides he's gonna one-shot this thing. He powers up his aura and unleashes a massive magic blast, seemingly wiping the slime off the map. His team starts cheering that he did it. But before they can even finish the sentence, their heads go flying off their shoulders like they're in a horror movie. Kai whips around in a panic only to see his teammates are already dead. Before he can even process what's happening, the slime has ballooned in size and is all over him. Kai tries to fight back, but this thing is built different. It's way too powerful and forces its way inside Kai's body, becoming one with him. Meanwhile, locked away in his prison, Kronos is laughing his head off. He's just snagged himself a brand new puppet. A few moments later, a changed Kai gets back to his feet. He lets out this wicked laugh, talking about how incredible he feels now. And just like that, another piece of the seal holding Kronos shatters. Elsewhere over at the Apostle training facility, we see Rei and his team going hard in a practice session after a few minutes of training. Okawa decides it's time for the team to take a breather. Aya immediately hustles over, handing Rei a towel for his face, and telling Kurahashi that she seriously leveled up just from watching him train. Kurahashi tries to play it cool, but bruh, he's blushing so hard you could probably see it from the moon. Changing the subject, Kurahashi mentions that he actually bumped into Kai earlier. He spills all the tea from their conversation, laughing his head off about how Kai still genuinely thinks he's the stronger one. Yuri, who has zero chill jumps at the chance to clown on Kurahashi, saying he must have gone after Kai personally because Kai was dissing someone Yuri himself had approved of. Kurahashi nearly has a system meltdown because no cap Yuri isn't wrong, but Rei is completely zoned out. He's lost in thought about the last time he actually saw Kai. It was right after their duel, and Rei starts spiraling, wondering when they started drifting apart and getting scared it might all crash and burn. You know, just like it did in his past life. He decides right then and there that he has to settle things between them, like actual brothers. Suddenly another squad member sprints in screaming that there's a massive emergency. Turns out the Shinjuku dungeon just completely collapsed, and a tidal wave of monsters is flooding the city. The team scrambles to the scene and is completely floored to see monsters just casually pouring out into the streets. Rei's just as shook because the Shinjuku dungeon break wasn't supposed to happen for a while. The whole timeline has gone sideways. Oikawa snaps everyone back to reality, reminding them they can't afford to just stand there, since the Blue King is miles away on another mission. He makes it crystal clear that this whole disaster is on them to handle. Their number one priority, he orders, is to get all the civilians to safety. The team gives a hard "Roger that" and immediately dives into the chaos. They're a whirlwind of action, yanking people to safety, while absolutely wrecking any. While Kurahashi is going full beast mode on the front lines, Oikawa throws up a huge barrier to give the civilians a safe escape route. Rei's low-key impressed watching the team handle business so professionally. It's exactly what you'd expect from an elite squad. He remembers that in his original timeline, this dungeon break was a total bloodbath with tons of casualties. But this time, he's pretty sure they can manage the situation. Until, of course, things get a whole lot worse. A kaiju-sized monster crashes the party, and it's definitely giving off final boss energy. Kurahashi's eyes light up. To him, this thing isn't a threat, it's just a giant, ugly target. But just as Kurahashi is revving his engine, Rei blitzes past him like a human missile aimed right for the beast. With one absolutely cracked punch, Rei shatters the monster into a million tiny bits. He's about to start celebrating, but a chilling evil laugh cuts him short. Rei recognizes that voice instantly. He whips around to see Kai floating in the sky with a new pair of demonic wings. To make things 10 times worse, Kai looks unbelievably menacing as he stares down at Rei, telling him that he's finally found him. Rei is frozen in pure horror, asking Kai what the hell happened to him, but Kai just laughs in his face. He sarcastically asks if Rei is talking about his sick new look or his plan to utterly crush him. Weirdly enough, Kai uses the word "our plan," which heavily implies there's something else sharing his body. Just then, Rei's danger sense goes into overdrive, and he dodges at the last possible second, narrowly avoiding getting his head taken clean off. Kai mocks him, saying it was a nice dodge, but questions how much longer he can really keep it up. Kai unleashes a furious barrage of attacks, forcing Rei completely onto the defensive. Rei gets a nasty cut on his face, but he can feel it in his gut that his brother isn't acting right at all. He's desperately trying to figure out what could have possibly happened to Kai to make him act like a feral beast. Rei keeps weaving through the relentless attacks, and then all of a sudden Kai just stops. He tells Rei he can see the denial written all over his face, that he can't accept what's right in front of him. And then Kai drops an absolute bombshell: "This is all your fault." Kai claims he embraced this monster form for the sole purpose of gaining enough power to finally kill Rei. Rei is completely stunned. Hearing the word "kill" come from Kai is so out of character, it just doesn't compute. He's still frozen in shock as Kai dashes in for the finishing blow, but fortunately, Kurahashi comes in clutch. He materializes out of nowhere to plant a massive kick right in Kai's face, sending him flying into the distance. Kurahashi, who's still clueless that Kai is a completely different person, starts chewing him out for going rogue during a crisis. Kai yells at Kurahashi to quit messing around, but Kurahashi just screams back, reminding him that the guy he's trying to kill, Rei, is his own brother. Kai, with zero chill, tells them that brotherhood means nothing to him, because he's only here to show Rei what his insane power really looks like. With that, Kai launches himself into the air and starts raining down absolute hellfire that even starts hitting the civilian areas. Luckily, Oikawa's barrier is up and running, keeping all the innocent people safe from the rampage. But since he's stuck on civilian protection duty, he can't back up Rei and Kurahashi. Rei screams at his brother, saying he always knew he had a violent streak, but he never ever thought he'd take it this far. Kai just clowns on Rei for being so naive, promising that he's about to absolutely crush him. Kai then unleashes a storm of magic blasts at the squad, bragging about how cracked his power is, while Rei tells the team they have to shut him down, no matter what. That message hits different for Kurahashi, and you can see his whole demeanor change in an instant. It looks like Kurahashi finally gets that talking to Kai is a complete waste of breath, so he just blitzes towards him. He's not trying to subdue him, he's going in to blow him into a million pieces. Kurahashi's attack connects, creating a massive fireball, but when the smoke clears, he sees the unbelievable. Kai managed to block the whole thing, and before Kurahashi can even process that, this dude is on another level. Kai has already shoved his hand straight through his chest. Rei just screams Kurahashi's name as Kai tosses his broken body to the ground, but there's no answer. Rei keeps screaming his name over and over again, completely frozen and not doing a thing. Just as Kai is about to land the finishing blow on Kurahashi, Oikawa finally joins the fight. His barrier pops up, blocking Kai's attack and shielding Kurahashi at the same time. Oikawa doesn't hide his disgust, telling Kai how disappointed he is that he's fallen this far. Then he lets him know it's time to face the consequences, immediately trapping Kai in his square box barrier magic. Yuri desperately tries to stop Oikawa, warning him that using that kind of sealing skill on a human will put a crazy amount of strain on the user. Oikawa just tells her he knows the risks, but he can't forgive Kai for what he did to his friends. Oikawa keeps shrinking the box around Kai, but he quickly realizes the toll on his body is way heavier than he thought. Not even a minute into it, and Oikawa's hands start gushing blood like a fountain. Oikawa knows this is way harder than he expected, and he didn't think the kickback would be this bad, but he's dead set on sealing Kai away no matter the cost. But then out of nowhere, Kai unleashes a massive wave of energy from his body, completely shattering Oikawa's barrier. He just laughs at them, saying there was no way he was going to let things go the way they planned. Kai then mentions that his body isn't even in peak condition yet, which completely shocks Yuri when she hears it. I mean, Oikawa went all out with a high-risk move, and Kai is just standing there like it was nothing. Kai turns his back to them casually, saying he's leaving now. However, he makes sure to tell Rei that the next time they cross paths, he is going to end him for good. And with that final threat, Kai flies off, leaving Rei to question every single decision he's ever made. The very next day, news of the insane attack is all over the country. And even though the majors were on site to help out, the public couldn't stop talking about what a complete disaster it turned into. Now, people in other areas are starting to freak out, worried that monsters could just pop up anywhere at any time. Some folks are even convinced that their best bet is to evacuate to regions with fewer dungeons. Oikawa can see it clear as day society is on the verge of a full-blown panic. But the biggest problem they're facing right now is the fact that Kai has officially gone full villain mode. He can't help but wonder what they can possibly do before everything goes completely to hell. Meanwhile, Aya, Yuri, and Rei are all at the hospital watching over Kurahashi. And Rei just looks completely broken because he's blaming himself for every single thing that happened. Rei is absolutely kicking himself, totally gutted that he couldn't do a thing to stop Kai, which led to Kurahashi getting seriously wrecked. Yuri then hits Rei up, telling him they've got to bounce because Hojo is summoning them. A short while later, they step into Hojo's palace. He lays it out for them. They might have thinned out the monster herd, but they absolutely can't let Kai keep running wild. The team members look to Hojo, asking what the game plan is, and Hojo drops a bomb. He's already had a little chat with the other primary color kings. This news completely throws Aya for a loop, and Yuri has to explain that those guys are the ones who run the show, especially when things get this out of hand. But low-key Yuri is freaking out because if the other kings are getting involved, the situation is way more messed up than they thought. Hojo then admits their plan sounds brutal, but it's unanimous they have decided to subjugate Kai. Rei is completely shook when he hears that word, since subjugation is what they do to monsters. Oikawa jumps in, arguing the term is spot on because Kai has been on a total rampage, which is what forced the other kings to make this call. They made the cold-blooded decision to prevent any more casualties. Apparently, they have already pinned down Kai's hideout, and Hojo announces he'll be personally joining the raid. Rei starts breaking a cold sweat. He desperately asks if there's any other way anything besides subjugation, but Hojo shuts him down with a hard no. He throws it in Rei's face that even Oikawa's OP box skill was useless against Kai, and they can't just chill while he's on the loose. Hojo tells Rei the debate is over, and the decision is final. Kai will be put down the very next day. Even though Rei knows his brother has gone off the deep end, he still remembers the good in him. He can't help but wonder if this is really the only way it can end. Just then, Oikawa pulls out his phone. He just got a text. He announces to the room that Kurahashi has finally regained consciousness. You can literally feel a wave of relief wash over the entire team. Kurahashi even sends a message straight to Rei telling him to stop worrying about him and to get his own act together. He needs to be ready to knock some serious sense back into his brother. Kurahashi's words hit different. They're the fuel Rei needed to realize he can't give up, that he has to be the one to fix this because Kai is his little brother. So Rei turns to Hojo and asks him for one single chance. He doesn't deny that Kai is a massive threat, but he truly believes there's a shot to make things right. Hojo tells Rei the subjugation mission kicks off the next afternoon, but he gives Rei a window telling him he can do whatever he wants before then. Hearing this, Rei is overcome with relief and thanks Hojo for the opportunity. In a surprising twist, Aya and Yuri declare they're joining Rei, reminding everyone they were on his team, way before they ever linked up with the apostles. Hojo lets out a heavy sigh, but he knows he can't change their minds, so he just tells them they're free to do as they please. He does, however, make it crystal clear that their deadline is the following afternoon. He stresses that there will be absolutely no extensions, no cap. Rei stares up at the sky, vowing he'll get his brother back. Later, he and his crew make their way to an island. It's located near southern Tokyo, which is where Kai is supposedly laying low. A few moments after they arrive, they run straight into Oikawa, and it dawns on Rei that Oikawa is here as his babysitter. Oikawa confirms it flat out, saying he's just following Hojo's orders. He says his official duty is to watch the island and to join the main subjugation force with the other apostles. Because of that, he can't get his hands dirty with whatever Rei is planning, but he does him a solid and passes on the barrier skill. A smile spreads across Rei's face when he gets it. Hojo intentionally gave them a head start. Rei gives Oikawa a nod of thanks. He promises that he's gonna bring Kai home, but as he's leaving, Oikawa tells Rei that he ain't so sure Kai is just going to listen. And with that doubt hanging in the air, he decides to do one more thing to help Rei out. Meanwhile, Kai's mental state is absolutely tanking, and he's regressing hard because he can't stand that no one gets him. Kronos' voice is just living rent-free in his head, telling him to just burn it all down and forget his worries. Kronos also picks up on the fact that Kai is low-key still resisting his influence, so naturally he decides he needs to step in and push things along. Kronos then pumps even more of his power into Kai's body, shooting a freaking beacon of doom into the sky. From where they are, Rei and his crew can see this absolutely insane column of light. And yeah, it's a dead giveaway that something major is about to pop off. Drowning in dark energy. Kai declares that this overwhelming power is just built different. Kronos eggs him on, saying he's now free to rule the world however he wants, urging him to destroy everything and smoke all the mages so he can finally become the Demon King. A few moments later, Rei and the girls run smack into Kai, who just starts cackling at them. He actually sounds disappointed that Rei didn't bother bringing the Blue King with him. Rei claps back, telling Kai that Hojo put his trust in him to bring Kai back home, but that just completely triggers Kai. He fires back at Rei, promising to wipe out him and his entire party. Kai then unloads a massive blast from his body that even our boy Rei has a tough time blocking. Rei can already tell no cap that Kai's power level is on a whole other level compared to just yesterday. Kai leaps into the sky, pretty much declaring war on all of humanity and telling Rei he's going to be the first to go. That's when Rei tells him he's still the same old selfish dude. He says that because Kai hasn't changed one bit, he's going to deal with him personally, reminding Kai that he's his older brother, which in his book makes it his responsibility to shut down whatever crazy stunt he's pulling. Kai just busts out laughing at this. He says that whole duty speech really pissed him off, and the girls can see it plain as day. Kai has zero intention of listening to a single word they have to say. Kai drops a massive fire spell that instantly cuts Rei off from the rest of his crew. He's trying to force a one-on-one fight dead set on proving how much stronger he is now. Ray just scoffs at Kai, asking him if the only reason he even fights is just to flex on him. Kai snaps back that there's no way Ray would ever get it, before dropping his new philosophy: power is everything. He goes on about how everyone's attitude towards him flipped the instant he got his new power. And that's because at the end of the day, everyone bows down to strength. Kai argues that no one will ever give you the time of day if you don't have the muscle to back up your words. He tells Ray his opinion of him changed after their duel, and that's why he's about to make things crystal clear by cooking up a huge magic blast. It hits Ray then and there that he can't just skill his way out of this one. This attack is way more jacked than yesterday's. So, Ray meets the blast head-on with his Abyss Flame to completely snuff it out, and Kai immediately recognizes the spell from their last duel. This just ticks him off even more, and he screams that he's gonna crush Ray, but Ray is already lunging toward him. Ray yells back that it's not gonna happen, thinking that getting up close will give him an advantage, but he almost gets his head taken clean off by Kai's giant claws. Thank God for Okawa, whose barrier skill pops up at the last second and saves Ray from getting deleted from the game right then and there. Ray immediately capitalizes on the opening to land a massive hit on Kai's body. The blow sends Kai flying like a ragdoll into the distance. The girls just watch and wait, trying to see if that huge hit from Ray was actually enough to take Kai down. During that brief clash, Ray noticed he couldn't steal any of Kai's power, making him wonder if this new transformation is the cause. Still, he's hoping that last attack actually did some real damage, but as the dust settles, Ray spots Kai standing in the distance, a glowing energy ball now visible in his chest. Kai just stands there motionless, trying to wrap his head around why everyone on the team chose to follow Ray instead. And not only that, but they even trusted Ray with their own powers. On top of all that, he clutches his head in total frustration. He just can't understand why his own brother is trying so hard to stop him. Trying not to get completely overwhelmed by his emotions, Kai unleashes another massive power surge from his body, which absolutely shocks Ray. He knows for a fact Kai doesn't have the overclock skill anymore, so it's blowing his mind that he's able to spam so many abilities. Kai doesn't waste a single second spamming a storm of magic blasts, aimed straight at Ray, looking to turn him into a fine red mist. But Ray just stands there totally unfazed as the attacks rain down on him, letting them explode into a massive shockwave without even flinching. Kai starts celebrating way too early, thinking he's already clinched the win. He starts running his mouth, calling Ray a complete moron for ever thinking he was going to get some kind of brotherly lesson. He's basically saying Ray is just a bug under his boot, totally worthless, but then a voice cuts right through the smoke, telling Kai that for a guy who just won, he sounds pretty damn miserable. Bruh, Kai is floored. He can't believe it when he realizes Ray straight up tanked his ultimate attack, and it was all thanks to Kurahashi's power. Covered in flames, Ray gets all serious, telling Kai there's no way in hell he's letting him fall to the dark side. He's going to drag him back to the light, kicking and screaming if he has to. Kai, on the other hand, is still completely shook that Ray managed to block his insane Demon Lance attack. And he did it with Kurahashi's AoE skill of all things. Turns out, before this whole island fiasco, Ray paid a visit to Kurahashi in the hospital, and the dude told Ray to just take his power. Let's be real, Kurahashi wasn't in any shape to be fighting anyone. So now that he's fully tapped into Kurahashi's power, Ray looks at Kai and says it's time to stop playing around and get down to business. He throws a nasty punch at Kai, sending him stumbling back. And just when his brother thinks he's safe, Ray follows up with Yuri's signature skill, the Mona compression. Kai is absolutely livid to see that move again, but Ray has zero chill and just keeps unleashing a relentless combo of attacks. He's literally beating Kai into the ground. Even Kai can't wrap his head around how he's taking this much damage from a simple fireball. After a minute, Ray finally eases up on the non-stop beatdown, and that's when he notices that Kai is against all odds, still up and kicking. Kai just starts laughing like a total psycho. He's rambling on about how he finally gets it why he can't use his overclock skill anymore. He's finally put two and two together. Ray is so cracked because he can literally steal powers from other people. Kai then accuses Ray of being a hypocrite, saying he's totally cool with sacrificing others, since he has no problem stealing their powers for himself. Ray immediately denies it, saying he's got it all wrong, but Kai is about to drop a truth bomb that Ray never saw coming. Kai reveals that two of his comrades are dead, and it's all because Ray yoinked his overclock skill. He explains that after he lost that ability, his party completely fell apart, and lays all the blame squarely at Ray's feet. It was all because he stole someone else's skill. Kai twists the knife saying Rei's actions prove he's perfectly fine with people dying as long as he gets a power-up out of it. Rei tries to argue back he really does, but his mind is a total blank. He can't think of a single thing to say against Kai's brutal logic. The horrifying reality starts to sink in for Rei. He'd never once thought about the consequences. He never considered that swiping Kai's power would lead directly to his friends getting. This realization hits different. Rei knows he has to completely change how he uses his power from now on. If he doesn't, Kronos will get the opening he needs to destroy all of humanity. He just freezes his mind, reeling from it all, and Kai can smell blood in the water. He seizes the opportunity, rushing forward and landing a solid punch while telling Rei it's way too late for regrets. Kai just starts wailing on him with a series of blows, but Rei doesn't even lift a finger to defend himself. Kai starts spewing nonsense about how he and Rei are exactly the same, always just looking out for themselves, but Rei still won't fight back. It gets real when Kai shoves his hand straight through Rei's chest. Even Kai himself is shocked that Rei just stood there and let it happen. That's when Rei gently touches his brother's hand, apologizing for stealing the overclock skill from him. In that same moment, Rei returns the skill. He admits to Kai that he did steal his power, but he adds that the true purpose of having power isn't for yourself, it's to protect others. A massive shockwave of pure energy just detonates from Rei's body, blasting Kai clear across the room, and Rei tells him he gets the desire for strength. But he follows up by saying Kai's method is just completely twisted. Then, in a wild plot twist, Rei's entire body starts to glow with an insane light. It turns out he's channeling all the power he got from his comrades. Rei declares that everyone entrusted their strength to him, and he's about to show Kai the real deal. He says this is the proper way to unite everyone's power, and as he gets it under control, something incredible forms from it. A sword materializes in his hand, and the aura coming off it is absolutely cracked. Kai is completely shook, watching in pure terror, as the whole atmosphere around Rei just hits different. Rei levels the blade at Kai, telling him it's time for them to end this for good. And low-key, that's where we have to wrap this video up. If you're hyped to see what happens next, smash next part down in the comments section. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, and absolutely obliterate the like button. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.